Hello, what is good, y'all? Another hot day in California. So, for everyone that's not currently watching Destiny on Wix panel, I am here to entertain you and play Slay the Spire. If I can get this box where it needs to be. Cool. So how's everybody doing on this fine Wednesday? Gonna start off with some solid JJ.
Is this how you treat all your guests?
Only the ones posing a threat to themselves.
Yeah, real rich coming from Supreme Leader Batman. You know, I thought the Batman of my world was a jerk. At least he didn't try to take over the world.
What we did for the betterment of everyone.
And what was the world's consensus on that?
We made that decision. A decision your world's Justice League wasn't ready to make. So we'll make it for you.
You know, for an evil doppelganger, you sure do talk the same.
That's because our worlds aren't all too different.
I've seen your history. We were running parallel of one another until one moment in time diverged our paths irreparably.
Oh yeah? And what was that?
You, Wally. Your death.
What? I don't know.
And then we killed the president.
Whoa,
Gee!
He had to die.
You guys killed the president?
Yes.
Why
My
would you
voice
think
is
I
low.
died? Why?
You didn't realize how much you meant to us.
I'm not even the first flesh to bite it. When Barry Allen died, we all got
Let me
bummed out,
check
but we
the
didn't turn around
settings.
and light up the UN.
It was
Everything's
Lex
still
Luthor
maxed
who
out.
killed
I
it.
think
Okay.
my mic is just getting worse
And
by
he
the
was
week.
president.
Oh my, what the fuck were you guys doing?
You see now why we had to do it?
No, how did your world elect Lex Luthor?
It was a close election. He used the media to convince voters that he...
He's the founder of the Legion of Doom. He's been on death row multiple times.
They had incredible PR.
Yeah, you're
Multiple
pinning this on
times.
me?
Luthor manufactured a full-on world war. Superman tried to stop him, but he had his finger on
Does
the
this sound
nuclear button.
familiar?
On the what?
The nuclear button. The president's button to...
Launch nuclear warheads.
Who the fuck gave him that?
Yours doesn't have one.
No, we've got codes, and then he's gonna call a guy, and then that guy turns a key, and why the fuck
Thank
would
you,
you
sir.
give him a button?
Well, now that you say it out
Okay,
loud.
so there's a button, and Superman's there. Why did he have to kill him?
Because if he didn't, Luthor would have reached over and pressed the button. It was the only way.
All right, but Superman's almost as fast as me. So what? Did he grab him too hard? Did he run too
He
quick?
blew his head off with laser beams. You were on board. didn't you?
Why? I mean, maybe the other
He
shirt,
blew
but
his head
you-
off with
this is your
laser
whole thing,
beams.
not killing, right?
Yeah, but...
Huh?
Yeah, yeah. You see now why we aren't so different? This could have been your reality, Flash. One small mistake
No,
and
no,
you...
no, no, no. Your world elected a terrorist, gave him a nuclear button. You guys killed the president. You took over the entire world, lobotomized everyone, and changed your names to the Justice Lords.
Right, but you
No,
died.
shut the fuck up. I died. That sucks. You guys didn't just have one bad day. It wasn't a fate giving you a bad hand. You guys made every possible wrong decision presented to you consecutively. And I know they weren't just lapses in judgment because you fuckers created interdimensional travel to hop into our world to do the same exact thing again. This isn't a cautionary tale. You guys are fucking insane. There has to be more. There has to be some logical reason. What are you doing?
Sorry, just playing Flappy Bird.
What?
I love this game.
You play it a lot?
We had it, but it got taken down.
You don't have it in your reality? And people say we're tyrannical.
God damn it.
Does everyone in the league?
Oh, we all play it, yes. Gets us a little agitated, but... kill you.
This explains all the rage.
But nothing crazy.
Oh.
Wally! 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 No! Oh, wait.
Uh-oh.
I'm Evil JJ, and this video was brought to you by Evil Gamer Subs, who will give you an evil 10% off if you use code SOLID, evilly, and will lobotomize you if you don't drink the whole thing. Not like, I don't mean like a cup. I mean you have to pour all of its contents, all the powder that's worth like fucking 80,000 drinks into one, and then drink it, and then probably melt from the inside. But it will
All
taste.
right, so before we get to some funnier things, there is some news. And this has been some of the dumbest news I've had to experience. Where I don't agree with Homeland Security and TSA. What's good, Grand Designs? TSA chief says nearly 500 officers have quit, warns travel problems will outlive any shutdown deal. Because once people no longer work at a place, especially when they have experience, to get back, all these employees they lose is not going to happen with the wave of a wand. The top official at the Transportation Security Administration said on Wednesday that more than 1,500 of her agency's officers have quit amid recent government shutdowns, including around 480 during the current 40-day standoff. It's the latest evidence that the Labyrinth airport security lines, which have topped 4.5 hours at some airports recently, and other travel woes, are unlikely to fully bounce back even when lawmakers reinstate funding. We fear we will continue to lose talented and experienced employees to other jobs that can provide a steady paycheck. When McNeil, a senior TSA official who is currently performing the duties of the administrator, told Congress. She noted that the effects of the departures will play out for months, given that the onboarding process for new hires includes 4 to 6 months of training, which is more training than the ICE officers that are replacing them will be getting. They just go in there and do the job. It's the most remedial thing I've heard in months. And that's saying a lot. Republicans don't leave their backyard, so they won't be affected by it. I'm going to say they will. Every time they catch a plane from one state to another, because they'd still be in their Republican backyards, but they travel. That timeline means any new TSA officers hired after government funding is restored won't be able to begin work at security checkpoints until after the 2026 FIFA World Cup, scheduled to begin in June across the US, Canada, and Mexico. So it's going to be very difficult to travel to World Cup. Like, just, if you have tickets, cancel them. Sell them, scalp them, whatever you got to do. They have to travel for Easter. Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of things they're going to want to travel for. She called it a possible perfect storm of staffing shortages. McNeil presented this new portrait of the potential longer-term damage during a congressional hearing, featuring top officials of the Department of Homeland Security, with the Coast Guard, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, and the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA. Oh my goodness. All represented. House Homeland Security Committee Chair Andrew Garbarino, a Republican from New York, said Wednesday's hearing was in part about analyzing the damaging consequences of the shutdown for a long time. Good news. Admiral Thomas Allen of the Coast Guard added during his testimony that his department has also already suffered severe and lasting consequences from the lapse in funding. McNeil said the current funding standoff has forced about 50,000 TSA officers to work without pay. This week has been especially tight, elevated by spring break travel, and in a year when overall traffic volume is up 5% compared to last year. On the busiest days, TSA screen around 3 million air travelers. McNeil said officers are sleeping in their cars, selling their blood plasma, and taking on second jobs to make ends meet. The agency is also dealing with call-out rates greater than 40 and 50% at some airports. During the questioning with lawmakers, McNeil previewed attempts in the months ahead, if the shutdown ends, to prepare mobile units to respond quickly at airports expected to see heightened World Cup traffic. But at a certain point, this is a numbers game, and if you don't have enough headcount, you can't cover down on your operations. What's this? Brit reality TV documentary from the early 2000s? No, never heard of it. I'll grab that for now. I wonder how all the South Africans that, migrated here that are now leaving manage to deal with these TSA lines. Now, this is only 10 minutes long. We can watch this real quick.
Timmy does what he told. Mr. Timmy, I love him. Mr. Timmy. You want to know what I own? Well, I own all that you can see around me now. We've got 3,000 acres here. And that big house behind, and a dozen farmhouses, and a dozen cottages.
Oh, give me land, lots of land, under starry skies above. Don't fence me in,
I don't get the point of this.
1199, King Richard the Lionheart bequeathed
Yeah,
the
there ain't no way I'm
magnificent
gonna
house
watch all
and
this.
3,000 acres of prime
I did
Devonshire
not see the
countryside
Harry Potter
to
series
Francis
trailer.
Fulford I,
I did
for
get
a job
tricked
well done in the Crusades.
today.
800 years
And I will
later,
show you,
the
I
Fulford
can't handle
family are
this.
still here.
I cannot handle this. So I got tricked by this. I thought there was some of the jobless reincarnation I had not seen. This looks like clean animation. I thought this was real. It's just rich British people doing rich British people stuff. I don't find that good. It's just gonna piss me off. Probably the same people that voted for Brexit. So this is where I should have known, but my screen was too small to see that this did not look like proper animation. And by all means, Mida, tell me what happened in the Harry Potter series trailer. I have to watch it myself? Can I even get away with that on stream? Or I just have to like cut out and watch it and then come back and scream about it? I'm saying, do you get copyright strike for watching trailers on stream on YouTube?
从预知眼都看不到的远处发动攻击，不管阿尔斯蒂都有。
Appreciate it, Mida. Yeah, cash poor, asset rich. I'd rather be cash poor and asset rich. I'm just poor. Sell the land if you need to.
找到你了。
I didn't know it was fake. The Chinese got me. But this looks so damn good. I did not know it was fake. Oh, it looks better than the last season of One Punch Man. Transformative commentary. So far, YouTube has never deemed anything I've said over anything they do to be transformative, even when I'm absolutely sure it is.
能赢，杀得了他。真麻烦呐。
Yeah, and that's exactly what would make me angry, Grand Designs. The fact that these people could be doing well, and you're making me want to watch a different video. Because recently, there's been an upsurge of South Africans that migrated here for refugee status, saying, no, America sucks, and leaving. So not only did they fumble the bag of apartheid, they fumbled the bag of refugee status here too. Getting free money. These people piss me off. Yep. I don't even want to know what 3,000 acres of land are worth. Like, say you scrap the mansion. How much money could they have? They could be living perfectly fine. But no. Bag fumbling ass people. This is when I got suspect, because it is just straight up in Chinese. So I'm like, did China get the season before we got it? Yeah, over 20 million. They could be asset rich and they could be money rich and asset poor. Get new assets and be good for a whole nother set of generations. I assume what he's saying is just basically to leave God alone. Just from what I understand of the story. Well, he wasn't just pleading for his life, he's pleading for his family's life. And so as long as this dude keeps going after God, he knows his family's gonna die. So he's like, just please stop. And was ready to do a full-on kamikaze attack to make it end.
Folks, hope you're doing well today. You know, we really try to explore all the ideas on this channel in an honest way. And if we're being honest,
that's why the show is good. He does eventually die.
Coming for everyone. We're seeing it coming for MAGA 6 different ways to Sunday, and we're making videos about it, and you guys seem to be enjoying them. And while we've destroyed this idea that Donald Trump is a good businessman, again, if we're being honest, while he's not a good businessman,
matter of fact, I'll wait to the end of the stream to watch the Harry Potter trailer.
And
because then if they do it, I can just edit
MAGA, the Americans he conned,
VOD and cut that out, and they can leave me alone.
The people that Donald Trump conned in the Middle East. And again, let's be honest, Trump doesn't build partnerships. You don't have to go far back to look at relationships to see this. Whether it was the contractors he hired, the people at The Apprentice, or hell, his former chief of staff. Or what about that vice president that was going to get hung? What about that guy?
And Mike Pence, I hope you're going to stand up for the good of our Constitution and for the good of our country. And if you're not, I'm going to be very disappointed in you. I will tell you right now.
Twitch never gives me a problem. I watch all kind of nonsense. They never flag my stuff. But YouTube, if I even play a snippet of something, they are up my ass.
I'm telling you, if Pence caved, we're going to drag.
I'm not going to disagree with you, Grand Designs. There's a few anime that I can't watch because they're in Chinese, and just the language just it ruins the immersion for me. Yep, this happened.
But all of this builds to this idea that Trump doesn't build
partnerships. This is a super dope anime called Hitori no Shita, and it was in Japanese for, I want to say, the first 2 seasons. Then the third season, when it gets amped, it's only in Chinese.
From the Middle East and investors, especially from Saudi Arabia and the UAE circles, invested significantly heavily into Donald Trump and Jared Kushner.
Yes, they did.
With those investments, they were trying to gain access to power, try to have some long-term political alignment, create some stability through relationship building, and to find a way to create allies and some layer of protection. And when we just focus in on Kushner, he really positioned himself as this architect of normalization deals and the bridge between the Gulf states and Israel and some long-term strategic partner. But in reality, what they actually got was just transaction loyalty with the expiration date. So really quick, let's look at a couple of different ways that the Middle East invested into Donald Trump, see what the return on that investment was, and then look at the big picture. So Saudi Arabia invested $2 billion into Kushner's firm Affinity Partners, and this was in 2021. And so this is Kushner's investment company. And the $2 billion was positioned as a private equity style fund, which results in very little transparency on everything, on deal performance, on long-term profitability, on returns. So in the end, we don't know what happened to this money or if it was a good investment financially. And when you think about it, at this time, this kind of access didn't guarantee influence. With that investment, Saudi Arabia was trying to continue to have influence on Trump and a pipeline into the future U.S. policy and strategic protection. But in a lot of ways, it was just a bet on Trump returning to power. And they did win that bet. but there was no guarantee of the election outcomes or the policy direction. And even then, when they win the bet, they get a very unstable man who actually destabilizes their entire region. And not only that, but with Kushner and his really strong relationships with Israel, it makes you wonder if they're really questioning the return on investment that they made in Jared Kushner. And then look at a country like Qatar.
I would.
Trump and Qatar started with a rocky relationship in 2017 when Trump initially backed Saudi and the UAE when they were applying pressure on Qatar. Now, fast forward so many years
still
later,
addicted to this
Qatar has
because
got
it's the
on
new one,
board.
but
They've gifted Donald Trump a
I'm down to
Boeing that's
play
supposed to replace
new
Air Force
games.
One. So they've paid their mafia dues, and yet they too are about to face the impact of this energy crisis.
That sounds dope.
And so when we start looking at the big picture, all these Middle East investors thought they were buying some stability, some influence, some long-term alignment. In addition to access to a person, a brand tied to a political power, and a relationship with no real guarantees. And again, when you think about it, Donald Trump was going to let his vice president, hey, why did these guys have such high expectations out of this business partner? Did Trump's CFO, Alan Weisselberg, ever make it out of Rikers? I mean, I think he did 2 different stints, and he's a really old man. Like, all of this was always on display for everyone, for the Americans to see, for the leaders of the Middle East to see. And yet somehow, after lacing the Trump's pockets with billions of dollars and gifting them planes, we still ended up here. Because obviously the guy is not a good businessman, he lacks strategy, and is one of the most incompetent people in the world, with the Iran war outcome demonstrating this.
All right, so what do we want to watch next? Some more news talking about the alien stuff that Trump has been doing, or the telepathy tapes where this woman gets eviscerated by Professor Dave in regards to autistic kids having psychic powers? Which one we want? And until I get an answer on that, we'll watch a little bit of this thing.
This channel is part of the History Hit Network.
Yeah, no, we've been screwing up massively out there.
I'm
surprised more people aren't pissed off.
One of Devon's most battle-scarred historic houses. Francis Fulford inherited this fortified mansion over 40 years ago and lives here with his wife, Kishanda.
Telepathy tapes it
Over the
is.
years, the house has fallen further and further into disrepair.
And you're joining.
And
Excellent,
finally,
excellent.
the money has run out.
We will get back to this. The money has run out. Freaking hilarious. Let me bring Zephyr in. What up, Zephyr? Cannot hear you if you're talking. Eventually.
Hey everyone, you've seen me debunk quantum mysticism nonsense as well as autism-related
Quantum
pseudoscience.
mysticism, I love
What do
it.
you get when these two realms collide? The telepathy tapes. What is that? Who's behind it? And what kinds of lies do they spew? Let's talk about it. Autism can be a very sensitive topic for a number of reasons. I've already demolished anti-vaccine propaganda from figures like Andrew Wakefield, Pierre Corey, Steve Kirsch, Bobby Kennedy, and other frauds who try to convince parents that vaccines are the cause of autism. They aren't. And sadly, I will have to continue debunking this myth because it
Jim
keeps
Bob also
popping
came
up
in and
different
attacked him not
forms
that
from
long
different
ago about
frauds.
evolution.
But that's not the topic.
Let me see what's going on with Zephyr. Zephyr.
Yellow.
There he is.
I was getting some weed.
While you're on the job?
No, I'm not on the job.
You're in here.
Hey, as a co-owner of this company, I can do whatever the fuck I want.
This man. But yeah, Jim Bob tried to ambush Professor Dave about evolution, and like what he considered a victory in that conversation is so pathetic that he did an entire cope stream about it the next day, trying to claim victory where none was found.
This Jim Bob guy sounds like Kung Fu Joe.
Well, Kung Fu Joe sounds like Jim Bob, so you would be the Timu or Wish version of Jim Bob, and Jim Bob is the Timu / Wish version of Andrew Wilson. So you know how that goes.
Of this video. This is about something else entirely.
Unfortunately,
Grips
yes.
that seeks to capitalize on the grief and stress of parents with severely autistic children who may or may not blame vaccines, but struggle with a desire to connect with their child nonetheless. Many of you know that I have an autistic son who I will refrain from displaying here for safety reasons. He is level 2 autistic, so he is verbal and fortunately also...
Wait, how many levels are there?
Levels of autism. You sure you want to type?
I have to find out now.
Actually, it'll be like good for the.
Okay, so it's
good
up
for
to
the
3
dictionary.
levels.
Okay, well,
So-
level 3 autistic is. Wait, is level 1 the worst one or level 3 the worst one?
1 is mild, 2 is moderate, 3 is severe.
Okay, level 3 autism is going into the bucket of insults.
I feel like I've done something wrong now.
very affectionate and joyful, so raising him is very rewarding. But the extreme rigidity, sensory issues, and communication barriers are a perpetual challenge. I can only imagine what parents of completely nonverbal level 3 autistic children have to go through on a daily basis. They have all of my sympathy. Naturally, despite these barriers, parents of such children yearn to connect with them, to know their inner lives, and would love to learn that internally they are actually very high functioning and the only obstacle is communication. For this reason, many parents have come to believe, through wishful thinking and the influence of seductive disinformation, that their children's inner lives can indeed be revealed if they get assistance with communication through daring, unorthodox techniques that fly in the face of the scientific establishment. This has been circling through the autism community since the early 90s, and there are many testimonials from parents claiming it has helped them. The target of this video is not those parents, though I do hope some of them will find the courage to watch this. But broadly speaking, disinformation can only bring societal harm, and there are people out there who are deliberately peddling pseudoscience to these parents
Just
in order to cash
on this
in
topic, if you want to pause.
Yeah.
It's I have a few things to kind of preface, right? Like I've not seen this video. I don't know what he's gonna say. But number one, it's like it's kind of sad, like having to still revisit these ideas from like the fucking 50s, 70s. When was the dude? Was it like the 90s that there was this old guy who used to debunk psychics and had like $1 million reward?
James
What
Randi.
was his name?
James Randi.
Yes. Yes, it's so kind of feels helpless that we're still having to just non-stop revisit these topics that society hasn't moved on. And like I hope there is a way where we can say, okay, well, there's always going to be 1 to 2% of people who are going to believe the shit, but we're going to have to move on from this. But I know it like comes in waves, because the moment you start ignoring it, then they gain traction, and then you have to go around and debunk them again. Like, understand it from that point of view, but it's kind of sad, like how many people fall for this shit still.
Well,
And
I mean,
kind of relate. Yeah. Sorry.
Barnum said there's one born every minute, and I'm inclined to agree with him as much as I find it distasteful. But no matter how much or how many times you explain why these things are a scam to people, they get this feeling like it's working or it has some merit to it, and we're just trying to hide the truth, or we just don't have enough faith. And it's daunting. Like, you're literally trying to save people from themselves, and they are willingly walking into an acid pit.
Yeah, I mean, and that's also part of the sadness, is that, in my personal opinion, from my experience, a lot of it comes from desperation as well. Like, okay, there's gonna be like a few rich, sort of crystal healer type woo-woo women who get into this type of shit, but a lot of the people who seek out these quote-unquote alternate ideas are extremely desperate. Like, they're not getting a job, or yeah, they're actually worried about their autistic kids or whatever. And it's like, wish we had the answers, because hopefully, like, if we give them an answer, they would not then seek out these weirdos.
Well, it's also partially because there isn't an answer, and I would say for like a level 3 autistic kid, they probably need a lot of care. So like they just want to try like literally anything, but all the same, you can do nothing, you can do something positive, or you can do something that creates more harm. They choose the thing that does more harm, unfortunately, and they don't know that they're doing that harm until it hits them.
There was this case in India, right, where like the parents were fucking doctors, like with MBBS and shit, and they had two sons. One was like 11, and the other one was like, I don't know, 5 or 6, maybe 8, super young, and the youngest kid was kind of failing in school. So they went to this weird priest who said, "Oh, we must give the blood from the elder brother who was like a bit like more intelligent, was getting A's and whatnot. We must give the blood from the first one, from the elder brother to the young kid." And he cut the wrong thing, cut an artery.
Oof.
And they're fucking doctors. The parents were both doctors, and it was for grades of an 8-year-old.
That is a terrible story.
Like, there's so many layers to this shit. It's like, at some point, it's just, yeah, it's kind of helpless. It's like, if people like that can do shit like this, like, I really appreciate the Professor Dave doing this type of stuff, but yeah.
Like, I don't think I'm a stupid person, but when you don't have the right critical thinking skills, or you have blind spots in your thinking in regards to certain topics, you're more likely to fall victim to things that most people would be like, why did you even consider this? So like, that was part of like why I ended up deconstructing from Christianity, is because I eventually one day said, wait a minute, I make all these caveats for only one thing. There's nothing else that I make the level of exceptions for, except for movies and TV shows that I watch and comic books and the Bible. And I don't believe the movies and comic books are true. So like, why am I going this extra step for this thing? And I mean, you don't really realize that sometimes until it's hurt you horribly.
Yeah, and that's kind of like goes into the type of content that I'm watching now. It's like, okay, well, I'm kind of tired of the types of debates that you do sometimes. It's like the last one with like fucking Christian nationalism again and atheism. It's like, I've heard these things again and again. At some point, I'm like, it's not that, like, I don't want to listen. It's like, they're not even bringing good arguments. I've heard everything before. They're stuck on the same routine. It's like, oh, we're talking about Christian ethics, or Christian ethics built the Western world and all that bullshit, which just does not pertain at all to history and facts. Do you think it's correlated, that type of thinking, and the people falling into psychology and all that, or do you think it's a little bit different?
I don't think it's too far off. Like, there's two different groups of people that fall within this spectrum, and it's the people that want to believe it or already believe it, and the people that are trying to get people to believe it because they get something out of it, even if they don't believe it themselves. And for the first debate about Christian nationalism, I think this dude actually believed it, but like what he was believing was so, like, it wasn't even like Christian nationalism. The dude was so misguided and ignorant to like what he was talking about that it wasn't even, there was no point to it. So like, to educate him would be better, but I'm hoping anybody that was watching like saw that whatever he was putting forward was dog water. for the last one, I don't think this dude actually believed most of it. But wanted to argue and be cheeky about it. He was really arguing for I think feudalism, or whatever you call it when you have kings and shit. Monarchism.
Oh, monarchism.
That's what he was really trying to argue for, like some form of technocracy where it comes down to monarchies and nobility being the only people allowed to vote. And like most of the stuff he was arguing for, he didn't believe. Yeah, the Irish dude. Like most of that stuff, he's not like he says he's not even a theist. Like he's not a Christian. But yet he's arguing for like Christian concepts and for gods and other stuff.
Yeah, which is like, I don't want to make it like a Christian nationalism topic, so like let's just watch the video, I guess, because it's more about psychics and all that bullshit.
Why did I let him? Because I wanted to see what he was going to do with it while making the same mistakes, because he kept shifting from philosophical to religious, but he's not religious, as so he says, but he's using all the same apologist talking points. You still think monarchism ended? I'm wondering why an Irish person is arguing for a monarchy. I would think they would hate the crown, but of course you're going to have bootlickers of every stripe. So what do you do?
Yeah, if he were that educated, like he's clearly demonstrated he's incapable of knowing basic facts. So I think we can just kind of move on from the part like, why does he believe this? The reason he believes this is because of the basic reason that he's just a retard.
Maybe he's a Northern
But
Ireland
I don't know if that's allowed on Twitch.
I don't know what kind of bootlicker he is, where he originates from. Yeah, he kept saying ordered, and I kept correcting him like, there's no way you can say the universe is ordered. Like, literally, even on this planet, most of the things would just kill us. Like, you can't live in, you can't be out in, like, frozen climate for, like, more than 30, 40 minutes without dying. You can drown virtually anywhere. All the wildlife wants to eat you.
97% of the water, that's the single most important substance for life, is undrinkable.
So, like, how is this ordered? Like, the universe itself is worse than the ocean. It wants you dead. It does not want human beings here. So, I don't know. Debating about order is a red herring. Order existing doesn't prove intelligent design. No, it doesn't. And I constantly let him know that as well. Like, dude, anything you're saying right now doesn't demonstrate that a God exists. You're trying to logic God into existence. And they'll keep doing it. Or until you get to some dwarf star doing star things and black holes doing black hole things. He tried to say black holes are ordered.
I kind of makes you wonder, like, what would these people say if, like, we were Necrons from Warhammer 40k? Like, they're born in the radiation or magnetic field of a star. They're so close that the entire atmosphere has blown away and they're slowly dying just from radiation. Like, what would they be saying then? Because Necrons hate their species.
You would think they would finally have some thoughts about self-preservation, but nope, they just want to screw themselves over, and they want all of us to agree with them as they do it. And that ain't gonna be me. You should pay him to go through a black hole twice to test it, to test the order of it. Because he was saying the exterior of the black hole is ordered. And I'm like, yeah, but the interior is completely bonkers. Like, we have no idea. Let me ban this thing. It's so difficult without Kyle here. He makes my life so much easier. Try correlating being able to determine what a black hole means. The black hole has a pattern. Yeah, like, no, there isn't a pattern. Just because you can identify a black hole and it follows the law of identity doesn't mean we know what's up. Palm Beach Pete would never.
I guess there is a pattern in the sense like how things orbit around each other, and like it follows up to a certain point, it follows the same laws of gravity as everything else.
Well, that's when that's
But
why I mentioned
is
the
that
three
really
body
order?
problem.
Yeah. I mean, okay, the three body problem is kind of a misnomer. It's not that three bodies are unstable. It's that
When
Newton could
three
not
get
figure
together.
out what. Yeah, it's that Newton could not figure out using his laws and determine why do three bodies form a chaotic system. But they are stable. You just have to use a different kind of math that Lagrange came up with.
Oh, so they solved the three
it's not
body
that.
problem?
It's it's weird. It's like with Newton's laws, you cannot solve the three body problem. You need other math to solve the three body problem. But that math kind of already exists in nature. Because we have multi-body systems. We have a fucking solar system that moves pretty rhythmically, pretty orderly, right? It's more than three bodies, and it's pretty stable. Everything like relatively considered.
Huh. Well, that I did not know, because as far as I saw, they had not entirely solved it, but here we are.
Okay, you know what? I'm curious now. So let's kind of do a overview of why is three body problem unsolvable. It's considered unsolvable because it lacks a general closed form and analytical solution, meaning no single formula exists to predict the precise long-term position of three gravitationally interacting bodies. It is inherently chaotic, where tiny variations in initial conditions lead to wildly different outcomes or wildly different and unpredictable outcomes. Exceptions and solutions. If one body has a negligible mass, specific patterns, particular case, such as Lagrange points or figure eight orbits, have been identified. Numerical methods. So maybe my understanding of the three body problem is also wrong. So
yeah, I'm saying, as far as I
discard
understood,
everything I said. Discard everything I said. Just forget about it. Just move on with your life.
Moon makes a good point. It's like using the word ordered is a loaded term, but I allowed it because then you have to explain what, like, I kept wanting them to slip and bring God into it. So trying to imply that it's ordered, well, who ordered it, what made it ordered in the way that it is, and then he shift language again. What about the teleporter problem? If an exact copy of you is made in a new spot and the old copy is dead, did you die? You're a clone? Oh no, now we have multiple Hugh Jackmans.
Okay, Lagrange did solve the three body problem. He solved it for specific cases. So I was half right.
Okay, so it's not entirely worked through, but there's a reasonable solution. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to swing this. I'm going to die. Perhaps he did the pro strat of baiting you into thinking you were baiting him. That's probably what happened. But he said multiple things that, well, he was constantly shifting the definition of moral with morale, which they're not synonymous. Even if they sound similar, they don't apply to the same thing. Definitely didn't have an understanding of what's objective. That was shifted around constantly. So it just makes it really difficult to lock in on the conversation. The logos. Oh man, I was fucking with the logos so hard. I even brought in the Akashic record just to one-up it. You know about the Akashic record, right, Zephyr?
I'm sorry, about what?
The Akashic record.
I do not.
So let me get the exact. Now, this isn't a real thing, but the Akashic records are a compendium of all human events, thoughts, words, emotions, and intent believed to have existed in the astral light, often described as a living library or a soul's database. They are a non-physical, energetic, and spiritual repository accessible through meditation, prayer, or trained practitioners to gain insight into past lives, purpose, and present challenges. So basically, it's a magic book on the astral plane that, you know, supposedly some psychics have access to, that gives us all information in regards to anything that happens within the span of humanity.
It sounds like someone fucking co-opting my Indian heritage.
That's exactly what it is.
Oh.
You nailed it. Replace the
Wolverine
police
and
force with
Hades.
Wolverine? I'd quit. I would immediately quit.
There'd be a drop in crime because, they're dealing with animals now, not humans.
More Jackmans. Our Indian heritage. I gave us a gift with that one. All right, back to the video.
Desperation to connect with their neurodivergent kids. The primary perpetrator of this grift these days is Kai Dickens, who produced a podcast called The Telepathy Tapes. In this video, we're going to dig through some of her podcast material as well as other public appearances to conclusively debunk her talking points and expose the scam. Let's start at the natural starting point, episode 1 of her podcast, so that we can understand the origin of the grift.
My son said to me, I can hear thoughts.
What is this phenomena happening? Why are his mind and my mind completely connected?
Telepathy is the tip of the
She sounds like an
iceberg
Indian.
with their spiritual gifts.
People don't understand that they can do this. They don't even have to be in the same room, the same zip code.
So you're just getting appropriated all over the place.
The stinger
No,
intro
there
from
was
the
a
first
woman that
episode
sounded like a
lets you know
fucking Indian
exactly
woman.
what we're going
Oh.
to be talking about, as though anyone couldn't tell from the title of the podcast. But this whole grift can be summarized as the claim that autistic kids have telepathic and other psychic abilities. They don't. Nobody has ever demonstrated psychic abilities ever.
Like, seriously. Has anyone here had a conversation with an autistic person?
I have had a conversation with Metra, if that counts.
How hard is it to get some of them to track a conversation and like get the nuance of anything?
Okay, in his case, it's pretty easy. So to get
For a lot of them, like inferences of jokes or like hyperbole, it becomes like a million questions at that point. If they had telepathy, would we be having these problems? I can't. Oh, hey, they brought up James Randi. Damn it, you were on it. Good job, Zephyr.
I am a psychic. I should start a podcast.
His cane is balling too.
I'm going to pay Professor Dave to actually promote my podcast instead of debunking it.
Yes, no, actual autism.
I'll show this as proof.
Because, like, the dude that was in 5v5 on our team, Energy, dude's autistic. So, like, when you have conversations with him, 9 times out of 10, I don't think we're having the same conversation. And he really just wants to talk about one specific thing, and he's kind of playing along with us to get to whatever the thing he wants to talk about. And it's brutal sometimes. Not a bad guy, just doesn't track conversations very well. So on to James Randi.
Despite huge cash prizes like James Randi's $1 Million Paranormal Challenge, it's not a thing that humans can do. But this is the grift we're
the
debunking,
Sherman
so let's dig into it. As it turns out, this whole thing was catalyzed by a podcast Kai heard featuring psychiatrist Diane Hennessy Powell regarding telepathy. Let's hear what Kai has to say about Diane.
She started by studying savant skills. For a quick refresher, savants have exceptional aptitude in something like math or language or art without having any formal training or exposure to the skill. So, like someone who can play piano expertly without one lesson, or someone who has a brain injury and suddenly understands calculus. So Dr. Diane Powell is studying savant skills
That is
in
not how
autistic children.
that works.
And somewhere along the way, enough parents had said, look, I'm actually not...
Well, how does it work, Zapper?
Okay, well, you can be talented at something, but to be a savant at a particular thing, it's not like you can play fucking Mozart for the first time you touch a piano.
No. But
You need a lot of training to be considered a savant.
Yeah, they're trying to play it off as like a natural thing, and they can just do these things out of thin air. No.
Yeah, some people just happen to have, like a slight higher than average intuitive understanding of math or music things like that. But again, yeah, that doesn't mean they're a savant unless you hone your particular craft. Like, obviously, a ninth grader who's learning math is gonna be more intelligent at math than a 2-year-old quote unquote savant at math.
Yeah, it's not like they don't get taught anything. They don't have access to more information. They're not just naturally able to play better than everyone else. They just have a higher aptitude and a better focus for that particular subject. But if they want to call it psychic, that's a different grift.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably an easy counter, but like, if you can become a savant at something, if it means that you're psychic, and anyone can tap into psychic abilities by getting into like the Akashic reserve or something, then like, can I be an expert? I don't know, like an expert guitarist just by meditating without ever touching a guitar?
I mean, that's what they want you to believe.
Like, I can just go to like fucking, I don't know, who's a good guitarist, like Kirk Hammett right now, without touching the guitar. I can just tell him that, yo, if we did a duel right now, I would beat the shit out of you.
That'd be funny to watch, though. I'd like to see it. But yeah, you'd be like,
I am a savant. I'm a savant at guitar, bro. I have meditated for like 100 hours. I have the entire knowledge of all metal bands in my head, and I would totally beat you.
Yeah, I've summoned the ghost of Jimi Hendrix. I will now beat you in a guitar duel. Like, no, this isn't happening.
All right. Oh.
Not sure if they
Back
are a
to the
savant. I
video.
think they might just be
Shroom and
reading
Gloom
my
is
mind.
done. I have acquired it.
We are being pulled in with references to savants, which are real, and they are meant to get us halfway to psychic abilities in the mind of the listener. Savant-like abilities with music or math are definitely impressive and borderline perplexing, but they do not equal psychic abilities, which are completely without scientific basis.
Dr. Powell's primary subjects are non-speakers who are usually diagnosed with autism. Her subjects to date communicate by pointing to a letterboard or typing into an iPad or some sort of other
do you wear
speaking
yoga
device.
pants
She
when you
explained doing
meditate?
experiments with some of these non-speakers where she'll put them in a
It's
room.
impossible
and
to
put the
meditate while
parent or
wearing any other
teacher or
pants.
whoever they're telepathic with in another room or on the other side of
I
a
agree.
partition. Then Dr. Powell will generate random numbers or random pictures, and the
Or
non-speaker will try to type
let me
out.
pause. Or actually, the best way to do yoga is not to wear pants, is to kind of just, you know how you wear a towel on your waist? They're like traditional Indian gowns where you leave your balls hanging.
I was just about to say,
and
he's
like,
free balling meditating.
yeah, I mean, nobody can see the ball, but the cloth is light enough and permeable enough that you can feel the wind going through your balls. And that is the proper way to meditate to activate your 7th chakra.
Damn it, Zephyr. Think of the ancestors. Why haven't you thought of the ancestors?
You can do it naked. You know what? A meditation is supposed to be done naked, but obviously you can't do it outside. Like, you'll have to do it in your own room and all that.
Well, let's hope he puts out a video at some point, Maida, and I don't know what Operation Stargate is. Or
Or do you want me to put
Stargate.
out a video of me meditating naked?
No, absolutely not.
Oh.
But if you slide it to Destiny, I'm sure I'll watch it.
I shall
what they
consider it.
believe the parent or their teacher or whoever is looking at from the other side of the room. And here's the host, Suzanne Scully, asking her how accurate the children were.
And the time that they are correct is statistically significant.
What?
Oh, it's like over 95%.
Over 95% of the time?
Yes.
I don't believe
Okay,
it.
wait, pause. I need to rewatch. What the fuck is 90? Because I don't want to say 95% is not just statistically significant. It is an objective truth. If something's happening more than 95% or 95% of the time, it's not just statistically significant.
All right, I'm going to run it back. Tell me when you're ready.
Okay.
All right.
Dr. Powell's primary subjects are non-speakers who are usually diagnosed with autism. Her subjects to date communicate by pointing to a letterboard or typing into an iPad or some sort of other speaking device. She explained doing experiments with some of these non-speakers where she'll put them in a room and put the parent or teacher or whoever they're telepathic with in another room or on the other side of a partition. Then Dr. Powell will generate random numbers or random pictures, and the non-speaker will try to type out what they believe the parent or their teacher or whoever is looking at from the other side of the room. And here's the host, Suzanne Scully, asking her how accurate the children were.
And the time that they are correct is statistically significant.
Oh, it's like over 95%.
Over 95% of the time?
Yes.
No, this is a.
So before he says anything, what do you say?
Yeah, something being statistically significant versus 95%. It's like it's not like a daylight thing. It's like a whole year in between these two concepts. Statistical significance is something as low as 10%. That is statistically significant. 95% is pretty much an objective truth.
Like, it's real. You should be able to demonstrate it. It should be something
yes,
we're seeing all over the place.
Yes, that at that point we should be able to conduct an experiment, establish that truth, use double blind, triple blind, quadruple blind, whatever the fuck blind, and be able to establish that as an objective fact. That's 95%.
And take James Randi's money.
Is that still connecting interest or something?
I mean, that would be a demonstration of a psychic ability, which is exactly what the foundation is getting.
Dude, how far really can $1 million get you in this economy? Let's be real. Is it even worth it anymore?
I mean, I'm gonna say just for doing something you can just easily do and getting $1 million for it is worth it.
Well, yeah, it doesn't hurt.
Some interesting stuff. Project Stargate files, like these people being able to draw out the layouts of government military bases that were not on maps and that only very few people had access to. I mean, I guess you wouldn't call it a coincidence, but I'm still very skeptical on that one. But the government put our tax dollars to it, so they had to show something, or else they lose that sweet, sweet funding.
A blatant
The
lie.
thing with these things like Stargate files and all is like it's cool in concept, but it's not a rigorous scientific test, right? Like we need to know a lot of the details on how they were like conducting this experiment, right? What were the constraints, right? How was the military base that they were sketching out, was that kind of designed with respect to other military bases, or was that kind of like a random layout that has not been determined, like not ever been used in any other military base ever? Right? Like aircraft carriers pretty much are going to have the same layout.
For the most part, they're somewhat
Because it's
uniform.
Yeah, because that's a design that has been proven in battle, right? Proven logistically. It's easier for people. Crews are used to it. The skills are transferable. So is that military base made similar to other military bases, which in general cases it would be, just because of familiarity of the people who work there. And yeah, I mean, if someone has never seen a military base and they're able to sketch it out, I guess we probably have to go into their history of like, well, how much GTA have they played? How accurate are these video games at recreating military bases and shit like that? A lot of stuff goes into it, right?
Yeah, that's pretty reasonable. I'm where Nair's at with it. Get enough beer in me and I'll draw you whatever you want. So let's see what Professor Dave has to say on this.
True, it could be demonstrated an unlimited number of times in any setting.
That's exactly
and in
where
a
I'm
bit,
at
we
with
will
it.
go over the techniques that are used to fabricate these kinds of results. For now, Kai isn't outright saying that she believes this, it's Diane saying this. Kai plays the skeptic at first.
I'm a science nerd, and that part of my brain just could not compute what I was hearing.
This is to make you believe that she's a trustworthy narrator. She's a skeptic. These claims are bewildering. How can they be true? But then she gets to talk to Diane, so hopefully she can get to the bottom of this.
I'd love to hear it from you, just in a nutshell. Explain the work you're doing right now.
I'm working with
How
children
did she become British all
who
of a sudden?
have
She wasn't British before? I don't know. They
Sound
turn
like
it on
it.
and off. I just got done dealing with an Irishman, so like I'm not even picking up on accents at the moment. I'm burned out.
All right, won't push that British accent button again. I already made an Indian accent joke earlier, so.
Been reported by a parent to be able to read their mind.
I'd love to hear, as a scientist, what has made you believe that this is not just a whoopee type thing, but this is actual science.
I started testing them, and I found that they were exceedingly accurate. We were capturing it. I mean, usually I try to have like 3 cameras.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, so she did tests. What were the tests? How were they conducted? These are very obvious questions that we immediately
Dude, he's
have
repeating
to
exactly
focus
what I
on.
said.
Let's give Diane...
Where's my podcast, bro? Where the fuck is my podcast?
Why do you think you're in this room right now?
Where's James Randi, bro? I'm gonna submit this as evidence.
Yeah, I mean, this is what any logical, skeptical individual would come up with. Like, hey, how are you conducting these tests? Like, what goes into it? Why do I care how many cameras you have? Do you think the kids are cheating? Like, what are you doing? Imagine being in Ireland.
Oh, dude, this podcast is on Amazon Prime. Fucking hell. Ugh.
Huh? What are we
I
talking
hate these big tech companies just putting all the shit they can find on their platforms.
Agreed. I just get irritated whenever something's on Netflix because I'm not going to get to watch at a regular clip. I'm going to have to wait through constant ads at the worst time that whenever something good is happening.
Diane a chance to explain herself.
If what the families were
Let's
saying
hear it.
was true, there was a possibility that this research could completely shift our paradigm, how humanity sees itself in consciousness. And I knew I had to document all of this research immediately.
Yes, of course, you're the most important documentarian of this generation, capturing paradigm-shifting scientific research which elucidates X-Men-like powers that fly in the face of the scientific orthodoxy and stick it to all the stupid jerk-faced scientists and doctors with their stupid rules and reality. Let's talk about those tests.
When I pulled up the footage, there were 5 cameras, and this was an experiment with
Ooh,
a
now
young
we got
girl
5
named Haley
cameras.
and her therapist that worked with her often and said that Haley could read her mind. So Diane went to conduct a telepathy experiment, and this is what the cameraman captured. So what I'm seeing in this experiment is the therapist who's in a different room will look at a flashcard or a random number through a random number generator, and then Haley will proceed to try to identify that word or that
I
number
would say the crazy
accurately
person is the one
via
that thinks they're in
telepathy.
your head.
So is that a partition on the table between Diane and Haley?
Yes, we wanted to block the area so there would be no visual cues. And then I believe that microphone there, so you could hear if there were any auditory cues given.
Got it.
So therapist is in the other room. She'd look at these cards, hold them in her mind, and then Diane would ask Haley, what do you see? And then Haley would proceed to type out letters and numbers and then hit play, and the talker would pronounce the word or the phrase.
Wow, psychic abilities demonstrated. Case closed. Well, there's a very important detail missing, which likely explains why this is an audio-only podcast. She says that Haley, the autistic child, types out the messages. But can Haley type out messages
hold up.
independently? No, she absolutely
I don't
can't.
think so.
The therapist is the one holding the letterboard. Kai is not explaining the experiment properly, so we have to go to this
Wait.
OPB article for the relevant.
Go ahead.
Wait. I didn't quite understand. So there's a person in another room who's holding up a card like on their forehead or some shit.
Mhm.
And then in the other room, this doctor is sitting with the autistic kid and has the letterboard in her hand.
Mm-hmm. And the kid types
And
out
the-
the response.
On the letterboard.
I believe on a computer or something on that order.
Okay, and so I didn't quite understand the gap. Like, so basically, the kid can type out
wait,
whatever.
no,
she
it is on the
only.
letter. So it's an electronic letterboard. So yeah. In a quiet
Okay.
night. So on screen is Haley, a nonverbal child with autism, sitting next to the therapist. Across the room, her mother lifts a card off the table, showing the image on it to the camera, but not to Haley. The therapist, holding an electronic letterboard that resembles an iPad, asks Haley to spell what's on the card. Slowly, Haley taps out the answer.
Okay. Okay. I'm willing to hear the rest of it.
In fact, Kai said that the therapist is the one looking at the flashcard or random number generator. That's false. Haley's mother is doing that. Remember, this alleged psychic connection is supposed to be occurring between these kids and their parents, not the therapist. So the mother is looking at the information and she shows it to the camera such that Diane can see it. Then Diane holds the letterboard and asks Haley to spell what's on the card. It's not flat on the table. This layer of assistance opens up the opportunity for prompting in subtle ways. So we are not observing independent communication, but rather something called facilitated communication. This meta-analysis examines many studies making these sorts of claims and demonstrates that facilitated communication is behind every single seemingly anomalous result. The facilitators, not the nonverbal individuals, are the ones controlling communication.
Exactly,
We are going
Nair.
to thoroughly demonstrate that facilitated communication, or FC, explains 100% of the results that are used to push this grift. But first we have to learn a bit more about FC and its history. The point of
And,
FC
okay,
was
pause.
to assist...
I just assumed these would be like a regular 52 deck of cards type thing, but
No,
like
it's the
there's
psychic
triangles
cards.
on the card.
Yeah, so
So
whenever
how
they
many?
do-
What's the
whenever they
out
do
of just random
bullshit-
probability?
So, like, whenever they do random bullshit, I don't know if you watch Stranger Things, but they did the same thing in Stranger Things, where they basically have, like, this deck of cards with shapes and other imagery on them,
Mhm.
and
Right.
the kid's supposed to know what they say, or know what's on the card.
Right, but like how many cards are there? I'm guessing less than 52.
I don't know how many cards are in BS telepathy decks. I don't even know if that's documented. Let's see. We can look that up.
Right. I guess like I can kind of this
They're called
facilitated
Zener
communication.
cards. They're called Zener cards. Okay. I
Okay.
didn't know there was an actual name for them. And there are 25 cards, 5 of each symbol.
Okay.
And it's circle.
5 of each symbol.
Yeah. Apparently it's 5 of each symbol. And these are the 5 symbols. A
So
circle.
it's like a 1 in 5
cross.
chance that they will just get it right out of random probability.
Well, this is what I'm finding, and this is what I'm assuming it is, or something similar to it. But theirs have triangles, but
Yeah,
these are
I'm-
circle, cross, waves, square, and star.
Yeah, I'm familiar with these. I didn't know there were like 25 of these. I thought there were just 5, but it looks like there's 5 sets of 5. So, like it's just there's a 20% chance that they will get it right just based off of random probability.
Exactly. So if they already know that there's a finite amount of images that can come up, they could take a guess and just be accurate, or the person giving the test could have a tell if they know what the card is. Like, there's so many ways that this should be falsified. And that's why they would never get that good old James Randi money.
Right. Well, this doesn't have a triangle, which they say was one of the cards, but
Well, I'm saying they could have their own cards made, but it'd be a similar prospect.
right. Then my next question is like for facilitated communication. This is like sounds like a very wide scale or an extremely wide spectrum of things that can be considered facilitated communication. Like, what is the subtlety of the communication that is occurring? Are there just maybe I don't know for sure. Are autistic people generally good at picking up like physical tics or something like that?
Oh, good call, Midas. So I'm guessing they also have to say what color the shape is, and the 5 different copies are each of different
Okay.
colors. So that just like brings down the probability a bit.
Okay. Well, I guess for this one they were just asking the shape, which again they might not be Xenar cards, it might be some other card. So
Right.
we don't know the exact probability. But yeah, this facilitated communication, like it seems like it could be. There's like a huge net of actions that can come within facilitated communication, from lifting a thumb to basically having the kid keep the pen in one place and just moving the letterboard so that it creates or types out the image, types out the word that they want the kid to say.
Sounds fishy. Like green, yellow,
Okay.
red, blue, black, and star, wave, square, circle, cross. Yeah. That's what we're working with.
Nonverbal children in communicating. As we mentioned, the idea behind it was that autistic kids are not mentally limited, but only physically. Thus, with some physical assistance, they can communicate. In order to do so, there is a letterboard or keyboard, and there's a helper or facilitator. The facilitator might guide the child's hand on the letterboard. They might hold their arm or shoulder or head as the child scans the letterboard, or even move the letterboard for the child. It was developed in the early
Move the letterboard for the child. Again, where's my fucking podcast? James Randi, where are you at? You bitch! Give me my money!
And Douglas Bicklin. Bicklin was a researcher and professor at Syracuse University in the area of special education. He published a paper in 1990 in the Harvard Educational Review, claiming that FC let 21 people communicate who were previously unable to. Let's check out a few snippets from this PBS Frontline documentary called Prisoners of Silence, which outlines the whole debacle.
These children cannot speak. No one knows what's going on inside their heads. They're autistic. Tonight on Frontline, the explosive story of a revolutionary method of communication.
Here was a means of expression for people who lacked expression. Here was a way that you could find out what people were feeling and what they were thinking.
Frontline investigates facilitated communication, the theory, the practice, and the controversy.
The guy isn't even looking at the letters.
Focus. It was just so clear.
Since Kai's podcast is audio only, it's good to get some video of these techniques from this documentary. As you can see, these kids are not doing this on their own, and it doesn't take much imagination to see how the facilitator can guide what's being communicated or just outright control it.
The mysterious condition of autism
pause.
affects close.
What they're showing on video is basically the facilitator typing everything.
Yep.
I don't even think that the autistic kid is typing anything at that point, if that's the fucking handicap that they're being given.
And that's the beauty of
it. Like, the guy was literally sleeping. Bro, like, what the fuck? The guy was sleeping, and the other guy's just putting his hand on letters. Like, where's this communication coming from?
So you can see pretty much like why you should be calling into question the efficacy of how they're getting their results. And
I mean, yeah, if that's the fucking technique, then obviously it's this is so bullshit that it did not even occur to me. Like, I'm like, there's no way these people believe this shit if that's the type of communication that's happening there. And like, it's not possible that this is the type of communication that's happening there, and they think that they have a 95% accuracy result.
Damn it, Maida. He's like, I don't know if that guy just has autism, bro. Looks like he wasn't even there.
Yeah, he's not. They could just remove the autistic kid and just have the facilitator type everything.
Yeah, cut out the middle.
That's what is happening.
Sounds perfect.
Okay. Oh dear Lord, this is like next level bullshit, dude. This is so many layers of bullshit that I was like, there's no fucking way that it's this obvious. There has to be some, and no, it turns out it is this fucking obvious. Holy shit!
It is literally that bad. Because I mean, literally, if they could reproduce these results, there'd be Nobel Prizes involved. Like, why are we hearing about any of this? Like, come on.
You know what, Maida? If the guy can point to the correct letters even without looking at them, I would want him to look at them just to throw me off. Just at least have some believability. Like, no, I know you don't need to look at the letters, but I want you to look at them just so it's a little bit more believable.
Not even phoning it in at this point.
if I were in Dr. Diane's shoes, that's what I would be doing. I'd be like, no, I know you don't need to look at the letters, but I still want you to look at it.
I mean, she's just grifting fat stacks from hopeful parents.
Close to 400,000 Americans. Most have little or no speech. 80% are mentally retarded. While the condition
Oh no, you can't say that, bro.
There's no cure.
I'm just dropping this in here to convey the fact that in the 80s and 90s, the term autism referred exclusively to severe nonverbal autism. Now we know that autism is a spectrum, hence autism spectrum disorder, which includes a dramatically larger proportion of levels 1 and 2 autistic children who are verbal and in many cases very high functioning. So when anti-vaxxers whine about an unprecedented rise in autism cases to pretend that vaccines are responsible, they're clueless about how diagnostic criteria have expanded in the past few decades. Again, my son is level 2 autistic, so he's not even in the most high-functioning category, and yet he goes to a normal school, he's totally verbal, he makes eye contact with those he's closest to, he can have conversations, and he's very affectionate. Every child that is in these first two categories would not have been diagnosed as autistic in those days.
Today, thanks to facilitated communication, Jeff Powell, once written off as profoundly retarded, sits in class
God damn it.
doing algebra.
Okay, foil.
Ah, yes.
That
the
looks like
golden days
cheating.
of the R word. Does he really do algebra, though? I saw nothing but some guy pulling the kid's finger down. Maybe that's just me.
Here was a means of expression for people who lacked expression. Here was a way that you could find out what people were feeling and what they were thinking. And, you know, these were people who had a disability, the very definition of which suggested that the people might not have
Well, they had
feelings.
what looked like an Indian
And
kid in the
certainly
very
no
first
ability
reel.
to empathize with other people's feelings. This was
Why
a
you gotta make
disability, the
everything
very
about Indians,
definition
bro?
of which was that
I didn't
people
do it,
lack
they did it.
imaginative ability. Well,
What?
I mean, you know, how do you do
Wait a minute.
higher
Wait a minute. Did you hear what he
who
said?
lacked expression? Here was
I
a
don't know.
way that you could find out what people were feeling and what they were thinking. And, you know, these were people who had a disability, the very definition of which suggested that the people might not have feelings, and certainly no ability to empathize with other people's feelings. This was a disability, the very definition of which was that people lacked imaginative ability. Well, I mean, you know, how do you
The
do?
people lacked imaginative ability. What is he even saying?
I'm not that read up on autism, so I'm gonna abstain from commenting on this.
That's what I got, Maida. He's saying they don't have feelings, they don't have imaginations, they're just
Yeah, he said like they lack the ability to empathize, which in my experience is not true. But again, I'm not a researcher and I have not looked into like research on autism. So like the autistic people that I have spoken to, they're like usually more affectionate than average to the people that like they trust. To strangers, yeah, they can come off as much colder than the average as well.
either way, what this person is saying, if they're like someone that actually is studying this, their takeaways are just completely head ass.
When was this documentary from?
This looks like
do you know? Like
late 80s,
80s?
early 90s from the looks of the video.
So again, I'm not gonna blame the guy. Like he's like autism has like been researched way more in the past few decades than it was, I guess, in that period of time. So I'm not gonna blame him for being like ignorant about it. He's probably working with the best available knowledge at the time. I hope.
Wow. Saying that autistics are literal, do not play, do not demonstrate the illogical imaginings of other children. That could be in some cases. I guess in the severely level 3 category, that could be the case. I would still assume they have some level of imagination. This guy was born when eugenics was very popular, and phrenology probably.
Do higher order mathematics without an imagination? How do you write poetry without an imagination? So it's quite clear
No, okay,
that
pause. Well, just on that fucking shit. You don't need imagination to write poetry. You need imagination along with the ability to string words together in a good way. That second part is what I would probably question on. Like, yeah, I would probably say that, yeah, maybe autistic people don't have a high functioning ability to string words together to create poetry, but I wouldn't say they lack imagination.
That's what I would think. I would think they have, they've been read books about fictional things. They can understand fiction. So there should be some level of imagination involved. But I mean, I'm not an expert.
I think that was Scary Movie 2.
Hey, you saw
Grab my
that's
strong
good.
hand. Grab my strong hand.
Did you
Was there-
type something? Because I don't read the logs of who's in here and who's not in here.
Did Scary Movie 1 have like an autistic kid or something? Or professor? Anyways.
All I can think of is the dude with
list.
the little hand, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's Scary Movie 2, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't keep my scary
When they
movie.
go, my germs! And then he puts his tiny arm in the pie. Laughed at that a lot.
That movie was funnier than it had any business being. No, autistic people can write poetry and like to manipulate language if they've acquired it. What they lack is comprehension in certain deeply embedded structures. Yeah, that makes sense. That actually makes sense. We don't talk about Doofy. Oh.
Yeah, but Doofy wasn't a professor, right?
Yeah, Moon says it was 2. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, Doofy was not a professor. He was Officer Doofy.
This was a means of expression that was revolutionary.
Nobody was saying at that time that autistic people don't have feelings. Nonverbal autistic kids exhibit very obvious emotional states. The
Suffer,
narration is
stop being
outdated
psychic.
at this point, but people who make this claim today are enacting a distortion meant to trigger parents of autistic children who will be offended by the straw man and then buy whatever they say. But either way, boy, did this shit get a lot of attention.
Prime Time. Now from New York, Diane Sawyer.
And now a story about hope. For decades, autism has been a dark mystery, a disorder that seems to turn children in on themselves, against the world. Tonight, however, you are going to see something that has changed that. Call it a miracle, call it an awakening.
I'll call it pseudoscience, Diane. Of course, to pull off the grift, we need some success stories. Ones that are not so
There it
easy to
is.
sweep under the rug with knee-jerk skepticism. Do we have any of
Of
those?
course against
Of course
the
we
world,
do.
Moon.
At Edward Smith Elementary School in Syracuse,
If you're
children
gonna
previously
hyperbole, you
thought to
gotta
be
hyperbole
retarded
as hard as
now
possible.
sat in classes with their peers, receiving age-appropriate instruction, studying math,
Bruh.
Hey,
studying
dude,
biology.
this guy sounds like the narrator from
Astounding to see.
Surviving Edged Weapons. Holy shit. You know Surviving Edged Weapons?
No, I don't know about that.
Oh shit. We need to watch that someday on stream.
You got it. But the fact that they're just R-ing it up throughout this entire thing is just wow. Same straw man as some people have about psychopathy. Some think that people think that psychopaths don't have any feelings, but they do have feelings. They just equivocate feelings with empathy. Yeah, that tracks. Because they don't have empathy, they say that psychopaths don't have feelings. I mean, honestly, all these things have not been studied enough, and the people that don't study are the most vocal about it and put out these misconceptions that screw up the way people look at subjects. So the grifters are ruining it for everyone is the best way I can put it.
But this woman is just blatantly typing away with the kid's finger while he stares off in another direction. There are many, many examples of this throughout the documentary. A kid will be looking at the ceiling or has their eyes closed, and the facilitator is fixated on the letterboard or keyboard, smashing the kid's finger where they want it to go. This is most likely done subconsciously, but how anyone could see this and believe that this communication is stemming from the child is perplexing.
The kid is allegedly guiding the hand of the caretaker to the button, then why can't they just hit the fucking button themselves? Exactly. Yes, we understand. If they have the ability to comprehend the questions and answer, why do they need someone to fucking hold their hand while they hit the button? This is exactly why this is suspect.
perplexing. That's why Kai doesn't show her listeners any of this shit. She just talks.
For Bicklin, a simple technique had redefined an entire group of disabled people. Jeff Powell, for example, is
This
no
dude
longer
looks so
seen
proud
by
of
his
himself.
teachers and peers as mentally retarded. He has become
Stop
a
it.
celebrity at Baker High School in Syracuse. They stress he's an academically gifted student who writes poetry for the school yearbook.
Naturally, every autistic child has the soul of a poet. There's a lot of stories like this, and it's all a little too good to be true. All this sudden academic prowess unlocked by a little keyboard, how do we know it's really them doing all this stuff?
They aren't.
But critics like Shane were amazed at the sophisticated output. Autistic children of 5 and 6 produced perfectly spelled sentences.
Yeah, nah.
No way.
Where had they learned to read and write?
If Ouija board science can be true, this can be true.
A difficult question had to be faced. Was the typing coming from the
Back in my
autistic
dad's day,
individual
just be
or from the
weird quirks
facilitator?
out of us. This is
The
true. That's the
outcomes
way they
that were
used to
being
handle
reported
things.
were just so far out of line with what anyone had ever.
The big thing is autistics show drastic deficits in language acquisition and usage and comprehension. If a kid can understand and type answers, he's acquired language and has permanent impairment preventing him from speaking. That's not just autism. That's on the R word spectrum. There's no level 1 autism. Oh, well, they have a scale of 1 to 3, so I don't know how that is determined. But you're the expert here on this one.
Found. They're communicating in grammatically complete sentences. They're marking the tense correctly. Their spelling is accurate. They have insights that go far beyond their years.
These are some pretty good points.
son.
How does a 6-year-old
son.
suddenly write with impeccable grammar and spelling, just like the adult
Age
facilitating
6.
them?
It's like,
I wonder
dude,
if
it's
this
not
will
even like
keep working
16
when
or
their
15 or
parents
something
take over.
believable, bro. What the fuck, dude? Age 6. Do 6-year-olds know the word disability?
I don't think so necessarily. I'm gonna say they're running one by us.
At least
I'm
make
saying,
this shit
bro.
believable.
The kid had his eyes closed and look at the fucking wall, slumped over the desk like a corpse. It was supposed to be typing at the same time. No, fuck you, documentary. You must think. Oh, I love it.
As facilitators, should we gaslight them a little bit first?
One day she came over to the house and she said, "Stacy, I know you're excited after all these years. You must have something you want to tell Mom." And Stacy types out, "I love you, Mom."
This is precisely the type of parent that this grift targets. In this emotional state, she will buy the hell out of these magic beans. Others are a little more level-headed.
Matt, who could then only recognize about 50 words, went to school, and his teachers began using FC in the classroom. Almost overnight, his academic work improved dramatically. Kathy Girardi became suspicious of his new academic achievements.
He was taking all kinds of Shakespeare literature, Romeo and Juliet, and he was in algebra class, although he didn't fare that well in algebra, but English, diagramming sentences. The work that he was coming home was absolutely incredible.
Turns out his FC was Shakespeare.
What's up?
Turns out his facilitator was Shakespeare.
There it is.
Did not fare well in algebra, but was like getting A grades in Shakespearean literature.
Well, I'm gonna say, like, they probably had some successes because they were using alternative methods, but they weren't consistent. And to act like they were consistent is literally selling snake oil. It's like the sign language glove on Amy the Gorilla in Congo. Oh, bro.
Getting A's in some of these classes that I know I would have a hard time getting A's in.
What seemed especially odd was that Matt wouldn't facilitate with his mother.
At that point, I was frantically trying to communicate with him at home. You know, I'm saying, gosh, if he's talking to these people, why isn't he talking to his mom? You know, he and I have been best friends, bosom buddies. I mean, I'm his life and he's mine. You know, surely we can be able to communicate. And absolutely got nothing. As a matter of fact, he would take his board and bring it and put it in his bag, put it in his closet and say, finished.
You would indeed think
Yeah,
that
I mean,
these kids were
this
truly
woman, like, amazing woman, first of all, to question and not fall into the emotional trap, which is super easy to fall into when it's your own kid. And like, it almost sounds like abuse after a certain point where facilitated communication experts or whatever the fuck, like, they're forcing the kids to type all this shit out when the kid probably, like, internally, all they want to do is, like, get away from it and not be subject to, like, some kind of experiment or some bullshit.
Yeah, no, this definitely seems abusive, and it's also like it's like mental terrorism to the parents, because they're like, well, if they're able to communicate with these people, why can't the kid communicate with me? Like, what's
Yeah,
wrong
but
with
the
me?
parents are gonna take it. Parents are gonna be like, you know, I'll still suffer. At least it's good for my kid or some shit. The parents would likely do that. They'll be like, okay, well, he's probably not communicating with me, but you know, he can get much more ahead in life and all that, and I'll take the hit for it.
Midas cold game. The kid doesn't want to get away from it. He wants to go back to his nap. I've seen the footage. Yeah, it's definitely offensive, but like everything about this documentary is offensive. Walking
Hey,
around
maybe the documentary is about the mother who then, you know, goes against the FC.
I was about to say, is it the villain origin story?
And this mom turned out to be Professor Dave's mom.
Let me tell you how I got these scars.
with this method, that they'd be very eager
No,
to
if the kids
communicate with their
had psychic
parents,
abilities,
and
yeah, I'd be
yet
taking them
they
straight to
just
Vegas now.
can't. They can only do it in the highly
all
controlled
of our
setting with the
goods.
original facilitator. As you can imagine, many researchers who caught wind of FC began to wonder whether it was real. There were also tragic cases where FC was used to reveal accusations of
My
sexual
dad gave
abuse.
what the?
Whoa!
Oh,
Whoa!
oh shit!
Holy shit, bro! That escalated quickly. Trying to get people
And
caught
the
up with
FC was
CPS.
typing that.
I fucking
Oh,
can't.
God.
Oh. It's not supposed to be funny, but damn it.
Bro, I'm so confused. Like, is the guy who's holding the kid's hands typing this out?
I'm assuming,
so it's like the
yes.
guy, the communicator, is the one who got abused, or the communicator thinks that the autistic kid is getting abused and typing it on his or her behalf.
Yeah, it's pretty much Scary Movie, but like with a Ouija board that someone is obviously moving.
Someone give Maida $1 million, dude. But I need mine first.
Yeah, both of you get $1 million as this is going. Oh, this is so foul. Teacher, help. Don't send me home. I can't even begin to understand the amount of damage these people did and how much of it is still affecting people.
I'm so confused. Like, who's typing this? Okay, who's typing this? Is it the kid? Is it the communicator? Is the communicator suspecting that the kid's dad is abusive, or is the communicator's dad abusive? Like, where is this going?
Straight to CPS. That's where this is going. Oh man, I'm guessing people's lives got ruined over this.
And the kids were put into foster care during investigation.
Bro, the kids were put into foster care during investigation. Oh, this is so messed up. So not only did they do this foul, these kids got separated from their parents. Oh no.
One day at school, Matthew and his facilitator, special education teacher Susan Rand, had a conversation. but it wasn't about Shakespeare. Later that day, Susan
This is
Rand wrote
next
down
level
the
foul.
conversation and reported it
Thank
to the
God
authorities.
nothing bad ever happens in foster care.
She handed me a piece of paper, actually 2 pieces of paper, and said, these are the things that he said. And I just scanned through the paper, and I was just in shock at some of the language that was on the paper. And
I don't know how old these kids were, but like I sincerely doubt they even use that kind of language to begin with. Let alone are typing this out. That is crazy work.
I said, it's impossible.
to
It's
see what happened.
absolutely impossible.
Yeah, see, this makes more. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I'm glad they cut off the letters on this one because
Possible.
it seems
And
extra
it was,
foul.
at that point, she made it very clear to me that this was real. It was real, that they had a warrant from my husband's arrest. And they were going to send Matthew to the hospital for an exam. They were telling me that Matthew may have to go to a home, and a foster home. And I told him, I said, there's no way he's going to go to a foster home. I said, he hasn't been anywhere else except our home. There's no way he's going to go to a foster home. And I was told that I may have no choice in the matter. There may be no choice. And it was at that point that I realized I had no control.
This is where this sort of thing goes way beyond giving parents false hope and enters the territory of breaking up families and doing serious harm.
I got home about 9:30. I pulled into my driveway, and Kathy came rushing down the driveway.
It looks like
and
the
started
kid's still
to
with
talk to
them
me.
when the documentary
She
was
immediately
made, so
told me
I'm
not to go into
hoping
the
things
house, that
turned
there
out
was a
well in the
warrant
end.
out for my arrest, that allegations were made that I had sexually abused Matthew, and I was not allowed near Matthew, nor was I allowed to go into the house.
Forced out of his home, Jerry Girardi spent the next 6 months living at a friend's house, his family life destroyed because of the letters on the board. Despite the fact that there was no other evidence of abuse, the school, the social services, and the police all believed that the words had come from Matthew. Yet Jerry Girardi protested complete innocence.
There were similar cases all over the country. Could they all be true? The greater scientific community had to get to the bottom of this. Was it the kids doing the talking, or were the facilitators influencing it? In one of these cases, the court ordered a communications expert to study this phenomenon. He built
There
a
we go.
double-blind test to see if the
It's a secret group of rich people and politicians experimenting with babies and children on an island involving heinous behaviors, and multiple government organizations and intelligence agencies are compromised by this information. Some autistic kid who was typing in his sleep in 1982. I'm done. I'm done. If my friend gets some Diddy accusations, I'm ghosting them. True.
facilitator could reliably collect information from the autistic child, or if it was just the facilitator unconsciously speaking for them.
He showed both a series of pictures and asked them to type what they saw.
Betsy, you sure you're looking at it?
When both Betsy and her facilitators saw a picture of a key, the letters K-E-Y were typed. But Shane wanted to discover what happened if each saw a different picture.
Well, I mean, there's probably
When
multiple
Betsy saw a cup,
misdiagnoses
she
here,
didn't type
UD.
cup, she typed hat, what the facilitator saw.
Here we go. Now take a look at this one. I want you to tell me what you see. Okay?
When
Okay,
Betsy was shown a picture
another
of a
pause.
dog,
We pause.
Now I'm questioning these fucking communicators, right? Like, okay, there's one thing that's being like trying something, getting volunteers, helping kids type, but do these fucking like I'm not worried about these communicators. Like, do they feel no shame? Like, how aware are they of them guiding the kids' hands and all that?
This all seems like a
Like,
severe
how-
lack
what level
of
of-
shame. I'm not gonna front with you. Like, it seems like
I'm-
there's 0
I'm like-
shame in their game.
I can only hope that it's like their own subconscious actions as well. Because if they're doing it consciously, and just typing shit for autistic kids. That's some like fucking depraved shit.
I mean, it feels like what happens when people use a Ouija board. I forget what the term for it is, but like
some kind of motor assistance or something.
Yeah, exactly. And they're just kind of going with what they think the kid is about to say, and they're getting some wild results.
That's what I'm like fucking hoping that that's the case, because otherwise these fucking FC people are like actually fucking dredge of society and need to be prisoned.
Yeah, it does feel pretty criminal. Communicators are probably just people who had no other job skills, dude. Like, level with me here, all right? What the fuck kind of resume you fill out to be an autistic kid's finger to button guider? Yeah, it kind of feels like what's going on with ICE right now.
She didn't type dog.
Imagine
but
putting that on a
sneakers.
resume.
What the facilitator saw.
Okay. Okay. Want to take a look at that one?
When Betsy was shown a boat,
Now you,
she didn't
Betsy,
type
you take a
boat,
look at that one.
but sandwich. What the facilitator saw.
Okay, here's the next one.
It was just devastating to watch, because what you saw was the words being typed out were the words the facilitator had seen. And it was just so clear and so unmistakable. I was sitting there watching this and saying, my God, it's really true. This stuff is bogus.
Okay, and
Right?
now pause again. I pulled up this stupid bitch's name, right? Like this Dr. Diane Powell idiot, this fucking stupid ass bitch. She got her degree from Johns Hopkins in 1983 and has 40 years of experience. And she's unfamiliar with fucking facilitator, communicators, and all this bullshit.
Yeah, she knew better.
And
I'm sure
still-
she knew better.
Like, what the fuck kind of expert are you on autism if you don't even know this whole shit? Like, if there's people being sent to jail or being wrongly accused of fucking sexually abusing their kids, and you're in that field and you're not familiar with this degree of a case, and you're still using these techniques to make autistic kids seem psychic?
Yeah, but you don't know how much money she was getting for it.
Oh, God. Jesus Christ, man.
It always comes down to the dollar. And I'm like, I don't even want to consider how long she was able to get away with it before they finally brought in some people. Don't call her a stupid bitch. She's a certified finger to button guider. She went to school for 30 years for something babies can do before they even know they have hands. Oh, that's rough.
For real, like, sorry, are you saying this, like how far this Diane woman has gone? Looks like she's still going. Looks like the podcast is still up.
Jeez.
And this day, Professor Dave is having to make videos about like debunking her in the hopes that enough people will stop watching it to then
Still has a
like, hopefully
job.
tank the podcast. Yeah, she's the co-host of this podcast along with this Kai Dickens woman.
You hate to see it.
Was that whenever the pictures were different, I always received the typed message that was seen by the facilitator.
Beauty's
so that was
memeing,
pretty
right?
strong.
What, they made a mistake in the test? The kid typed in the first object shown and will always do so because they don't understand next image. Even the test to expose the bogus shit is bogus.
Oh yeah, it is memeing. I'm also autistic. I need a FC. Lily, can you be my FC? And just don't type
Absolutely.
out any.
Oh, it's all gonna be.
Don't type out any embarrassing shit.
It's gonna be slurs constantly, and you getting diddled by hobos.
Hey, you just saw that it has been debunked, so I can get away from it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll make you type all that shit and just say, no, it's FC, bro. Like, it's just typing random shit.
This is so foul. Like, this stuff was debunked over a decade ago, like over 2 decades ago, and it's still going down.
Evidence that not only was Betsy not communicating, but the messages were being absolutely, totally directed and authored by the facilitator.
This is a brilliantly devised study that conclusively elucidates what is happening during facilitated communication. Thanks to a clever mechanism, the facilitator is not aware that the child is being shown different pictures, and thus guides the child to type out the picture they themselves saw. Open and shut. Facilitated communication is coming from the facilitator, not the child. This was followed up by larger studies.
A team of psychologists and facilitators led by Doug Wheeler devised a rigorous double-blind test.
Put the H
This
for
is
the
what we had
W.
in mind. It's just a simple T device. The table's split down the middle. Myself as a researcher, I can stand back here, and I'm pretty much out of view of the
facilitator and autistic individual sat side by side with a screen dividing their visual field. Sometimes they were shown the same picture.
It's a trap.
Sometimes different ones. They tested 12 clients, facilitating with 9 staff members, many who were trained in Syracuse. They ran dozens of trials. The results were shocking.
I don't think they would be shocking. It'd be exactly
we
what you
literally really
expect.
didn't get one correct response.
There you go.
I mean, it was unbelievable, really. Given
No, it's perfectly
belief
believable.
systems about the whole thing.
We ran 180 trials. There were 180.
You know what
trials
I want to
where
know?
Valid communication could
Here's
have been demonstrated.
pause this.
Yep.
What I want to know is, did the facilitator purposely make an attempt to type out something that they weren't shown in the hopes that the kid was shown that and they would get it right, as in like they were trying to protect their job or some shit?
I don't know, but I'm right here with Mida. The results were shocking. Shocking to who? Anybody that was already believing the psychobabble BS, like, there's no freaking way you wouldn't have expected.
How long was
results.
this shit going on?
It seems like for at least a decade, which is a
Oh,
decade
Jesus
too
fucking
long.
Christ. I mean, it's still going on apparently.
Well, somebody's still grifting on it.
95%.
I don't know if this.
Imagine
individual's
having an
licensed.
FC and still only getting 95% right instead of 100.
I'm not in that. This is crazy.
Demonstrated, and none did. We had overwhelming evidence for facilitator control.
Overwhelming evidence? No.
All of these studies confirm the
poor
same
criteria.
result. When the facilitator sees the relevant information, they get it right. When the facilitator doesn't see the relevant information, they get it wrong. Every single time. This is 100% conclusive proof that all correct responses with this method have always come from the facilitator. There is plenty of primary literature demonstrating precisely this, so anyone who has fallen for this grift that points towards Diane's work as evidence for anything simply has not seriously looked into this and is relying exclusively on anecdotal evidence and confirmation bias.
More studies came out.
The results of this case study
No wonder that
demonstrate
generation
quite
doesn't
clearly
believe in
that
vaccines.
the subject was not
True.
able to communicate using the facilitated communication techniques.
No client showed unexpected literacy or communicative abilities when tested via the facilitator screening procedure, even after 20 hours of training.
Considerable evidence was found
What's
of the
20 hours?
facilitators influencing the attempts at communication.
None of the 23 participants demonstrated authorship. There has been no instance in which a participant has successfully identified an object through FC.
These results suggest that the communications previously reported from individuals with autism may have been influenced.
This got debunked in 1993, and they're still doing it. Over 30 years later.
By facilitator coactivity.
Looking at still other sources, in 1998, a British government report concluded that the phenomenon fails to materialize once facilitator effects have been controlled. It would be hard to justify further research on
James
this.
Randi would eviscerate
And then further,
this.
in 2010, key empirical findings consistently showed that the facilitator and not the client initiated communication. That's that. FC has never once been shown to work in a controlled setting. To be perfectly clear, it's not necessarily the case that the facilitators are lying. It's more likely that they are unconsciously guiding the communication. It's like a Ouija board effect.
Yep.
So it doesn't have...
Hey, I get $1 million now too. Now I get $1 million. Let's go. It's a good day. We're all going to be rich.
Any professional voicing support for FC during that time was an evil
We seem to have
person who
higher
was in
predictive
on a
power
grid.
than
But
these
regardless,
95%
these
psychic
results
autistic
speak for
kids.
themselves.
Bruh.
Now back to the telepathy tapes. Just like what happens in so many other areas, it is blatantly obvious that this current incarnation is just FC back from the dead and dressed up in new clothes. Just like how Discovery Institute will respawn creation science, but call it intelligent design and launch a new marketing campaign, facilitated communication was dubbed rapid prompting method, or spelling to communicate. This has all been debunked in the primary literature as well, as recently as 2019. As for Diane, none of her work was ever peer-reviewed or published. The
Of course
reason for
not.
this is obvious. It would be torn to shreds. In fact, experts have watched the raw video pertaining
found
to
a single
Diane's
paper from her.
so-called studies, and they have spotted lots
you
of
ain't
problems,
gonna.
as we can read in this article from McGill. The video clip posted to the website clearly shows the mom not only holding the letterboard in front of Mia, but holding Mia's jaw as Mia points to the board.
Right. He's
Mia
not-
does
he's not
spell
Epstein.
out
He's Palm Beach
pirata,
Pete.
Spanish for pirate, which is the correct answer, but the mother's influence cannot be ruled out. Move the head and the finger will follow. In a different test, Mia's mother is touching Mia's forehead during the spelling, where it would be easy to subtly press down whenever Mia's finger hovers over the right number. Now, finally, getting back to Kai Dickens, the one who decided to amplify Diane's shitty work to manufacture this grift. If Kai is such a skeptic, and she truly wants to understand whether any of this is real, why would she ignore all the existing literature, which proves it definitely isn't? Then, in terms of curating content for her podcast, did she reach out to any experts in the field in order to interview them? Does she ever address the issue that FC has been discredited over and over again? Does she counter the obvious concern that the whole concept is built on pseudoscience that was firmly discredited?
I mean, mister, whether people did it before, we just did it right now. We've been doing it for the last half hour or so, and it's ridiculous how flawed the criteria was for what they were doing and the people that were harmed in the process of them doing it.
Credited decades ago? Of course not, because she's a fraud. Instead of all that, she does her best to conjure up a brand new, transparently pseudoscientific explanation for the alleged phenomenon, one that is a little more of the times. This happens in episode 6, Scientific Evidence for ESP That Shatters the Materialist Paradigm.
Let's go.
Wow, it's almost like it was written by Deepak Chopra. In this episode, she talks to Rupert Sheldrake, who she introduces as a Cambridge biologist who's authored more than 100 papers in peer-reviewed journals. He's also a certified crackpot who will likely get his own video in the near future due to what quantum mystics refer to as a banned TED Talk, which is really just a delusional rant that TED took down in embarrassment to maintain intellectual integrity. But that will have to wait for another day.
Okay.
Right now, let's
Alright.
listen to Kai.
Can I rant on TED?
Please, rant on TED.
Or is it not the platform? These fucking idiots. I absolutely hate these stupid ass fucking bitch mates who want to make education and science and all this like fucking nerdy ass shit sound cool, which it is cool, but only for fucking nerds. These things are not made to be enjoyed by the regular public. That's why it's a very niche community that enjoys it. Okay, you can bring it out. You can bring out the fun things about your stuff onto like a big platform and be like, hey, this is some cool things that we do. Sure, I don't have a problem with that. But TED makes it seem like the only shit that they do is cool shit. It has completely warped the brains of the general public who watches this kind of shit into believing that every single occupation is like this amazing adventure. They're not familiar with like how hard a lot of this shit is, how like the thousands of people that you have to coordinate in something like a fucking astrophysics project to be able to get like 1 fucking hour on a telescope and be able to like circumvent like 1 arc second of the night sky or some shit?
Might have said it's a good thing I don't co-host this. This shit I've been saying tonight.
You
is
left your
actually-
own fucking stream.
I've been reading the unhinged shit you've been typing, and it's amazing. Oh man, no, like I think that's part of it, Zephyr. Like they want to be like they know they're scientists, they think they're nerds, and that nobody's going to be interested. So this is like one of the few moments they get to feel like rock stars, but at the cost of so much.
Yeah. And they will invite, and okay, that was my problem to start out with, but honestly, that's not even 1% of the problem. The fucking 99+% of the problem is exactly like what Professor Dave showed, that fucking grifters want to now use this TED Talk platform to just to get into the zeitgeist of the public discussion. And TED is so fucking desperate because all they do is release like fucking 4-minute lectures, right? Like they don't have more material than that, so they're constantly looking for more and more niche topics and more subjects to talk about. So when they get any sort, like it's like fucking Netflix, right? They're just so desperate for content that they will go to anyone, like any weirdo, any pseudoscientist, and as long as they can make themselves appear good. And I guess there is some sort of some experts who like on the board of TED or of certain places where they host TED Talks, but that is not a very rigorous way because it's such a huge it's so decentralized that there's no control over the quality of TED Talks. So as long as you have a friend who's on the board of one of these TED Talks, yeah, you can pretty much get a talk out of it.
Yeah, easily. Oh, I'm so freaking dead. This blows.
You stopped sharing your screen in Discord, so if you can't reshare it.
It should be shared still. What happened?
No, you left and then joined back. That's what happened.
Oh, that's weird. Must be a connection thing. I'll reshare it. There you go. All right.
Watching it.
Yeah, Ike is unhappy that you want to try to gatekeep the TED Talks.
Hell yes, I will gatekeep. Gatekeeping is good.
Rupert, try to make this bullshit sound like science.
Telepathy is happening amongst non-speaking individuals. And many of you are still asking, how on earth can this be true?
Now they're non-speaking
and that's
individuals?
To be expected because you and I are both products of the materialist paradigm.
Just any non-speaking
that has
individual is
skeptical scientific
psychic.
thinking for decades.
That's what I'm hearing.
Materialism is so stupid. Some idiot scientists think that reality is just this material, measurable stuff around us that can be probed empirically, and that there aren't any magic sparkle fluffs or trans-dimensional unicorns farting out happy thoughts. They're closed-minded idiots. This is the angle that unites creationists and quantum mystics. Their denigration of the scientific community for not entertaining souls and chakras and auras and other such flights of fancy that have precisely zero evidence substantiating their existence.
Sir Rudolph Peters told me about an investigation he'd done with a severely disabled child.
It's impossible to know what the boy's diagnosis would have been today, but at the time, which would have been the 1950s, he was deemed severely mentally disabled, and he was almost completely blind. And the boy's ophthalmologist was shocked during a checkup because this boy who could not see was reading the eye chart from across the room.
He did phenomenally well on those eye charts, the ophthalmologist. He just couldn't believe what was happening, so then he thought maybe
I
the
need to
mother
know
had something
what's
to
an
do with it.
ophthalmologist? I doubt it's an eye-related
It's
thing.
an eye doctor, isn't it?
That's an optometrist, isn't it?
Ophthalmologist is just another branch of optometry.
Okay, it is an eye doctor, huh?
I got into it with our friend Suzanne Wright, co-founder of Autism Speaks, and her husband before she died. Yeah, no, I believe that a fucking blind person was reading because they're autistic. Mida, you might need to come in here at some point. God damn it. Guess he doesn't like quantum sciences. No, I'm pretty sure he's fine with like quantum physics and things like that, but he probably takes a lot of it with a grain of salt. Invisible. This is rough.
So he sent her out of the room, and this young man couldn't do it.
This boy was able to read the eye chart only when his mother was in the room looking at the eye chart as well, and couldn't if she left.
Sound familiar?
The eye chart when her,
60
when
years
her
ago,
mother was
Sir
in the
Rudolph Peters
room,
looked at
and
this
they,
and came-
instead of believing that the mother's probably fucking something up, they chose to believe that a blind kid could see. Like, what the fuck, dude?
And you wonder why people believe bullshit. If their critical thinking skills are that far off, like,
I believe it even less now than anything, bro.
it's fucking wild. That's why science is good. It tries to disprove the thing, and if it can't falsify the thing, you get results and you have a conclusion. But they just start off with, I want to believe this, and we're boned.
I need to stress this. They say that the blind kid could see only when the mother was in the room.
It's a
And
miracle.
instead of questioning the mother, they instead believe that the blind kid could see. What the fuck, dude?
It's a Christmas
Jesus
miracle.
Christ.
This is the magical dwarf syndrome. The little people are all psychic,
It's a-
and the autistic children are changeling. Oh, the crib swap. I can't. Like, wouldn't you think the candidate explanation wouldn't be all of a sudden this blind kid can see, or there's something going on in this room that's getting positive results regarding this kid? Hey, maybe it's because the mom's in the room.
Dude, confirmation bias is... I feel like the confirmation bias is the single most retarded shit that humans, like, that our brains have. I feel like half of the world's problems, if not more, could be solved if we just had a way to remove confirmation bias from our from our thought process.
If blind people could see by being autistic, then why is Mr. Beast making videos about this and there's no videos of kids getting 12 COVID vaccines and eating 2,000 milligrams of Red 40 a day? Checkmate, liberals. I fucking love it. Oh, God. My poor mom tried that once too, and they busted her and she was humiliated. So then I wouldn't talk to the evaluator because he hurt my mom's feelings. I mean, yeah, pretty much. Shit backfired a lot trying to deal with me. Yeah, makes sense. I mean, yeah, you're in tune with your mom's feelings on that. And they're just getting these piss poor results. They're the ones doing the testing. Like, they should know this. It's not on the kids or the parents.
So then he thought maybe the mother had something to do with it. So he sent her out of the room, and this young man couldn't do it.
Finally, one
This
intelligent
boy
guy.
was
Obviously.
able to read the eye chart only when his mother was in the room looking at the eye chart as well, and couldn't if she'd left.
Sound familiar? So nearly 60 years ago, Sir Rudolph Peters looked at this and came to a very similar conclusion that Dr. Powell did when she was studying children with severe autism who seemed to be able to read through their mother's eyes.
He came to the conclusion that somehow the mother was communicating telepathically to her son.
What?
Oh no, he's an even bigger retard. He's an even bigger retard.
He
Take
came
my $1 million.
to the absolute worst conclusion possible. How do you can't make this up.
Oh, let's send the mother out of the room. It's not that the mother is doing some fuckery. It's that the kid is
But have you considered,
communicating
Zeppelin?
telepathically with the child.
There's a limited distance on telepathy. So if she's more than 10 feet away, the telepathy's not
Oh
gonna
no, the
function
mother
properly.
could not see the board. It's not that the distance was there, it's that the mother could not see the board. They sent her outside the room.
Oh my God. And these people take our tax dollars.
Who's
The
this fucking
X-Men.
Rudolph Peters, and why is there a sir at the beginning of his name? This, oh lord.
I mean, it should be Esquire, but I'm not in that. Yeah, looking for group. We're the X-Men.
British biochemist.
We're gonna form a
Rudolf
team.
Albert Peters. Dude, this Wikipedia is life and family, and it's like
and nothing else.
Yeah, there's after Second World War, he researched pyruvate metabolism, focusing particularly on the toxicity of fluoroacetate. Okay,
Save your school of
changeling
for changelings. I swear this isn't supposed to be funny, but damn it, if these people being completely idiotic in the testing process doesn't make you laugh a little bit.
It doesn't mention anything about psychic shit on his Wikipedia. It talks about like his biochemistry stuff, like
the stuff that
investigating
actually
the
works.
mechanism of arsenic. What?
I mean, would you put that on your wiki page? Well, I was saying to you, like, would you put that on your page?
It's not that I would put it on; it's that anyone can put it on. It's Wikipedia.
Well, as a matter of fact, you can put it on right now.
Maybe, let's see.
I'm pretty sure like it's been put on there, and he keeps removing it.
Let's see what this bitch says about Rudolf Peters.
You got to see the change.
Maybe he turns out to be the good guy. Let's see.
Between the blind boy and his mother.
They got the mother in one laboratory, sitting by the telephone, and they had the boy in another laboratory about 5 miles away, and they recorded the whole thing on a tape recorder. They showed the mother a series of cards with letters or numbers on them, and the boy then said what it was, a number or a letter. And the results were staggeringly higher than the chance level.
Yes, it sounds remarkably similar to other bullshit anecdotal evidence we've been fed thus far. Funny how this groundbreaking, earth-shattering result can't find its way into peer-reviewed publication and exists completely without any verifiable record to substantiate its veracity.
I need this to stop being
It's a
funny.
story that Rupert tells without details, controls, or replication. Of course, he then has his own experiments he wants to present, which again are just stories.
Dr. Sheldrake has done remarkable research.
I have
around
anecdotal
telepathy in the
evidence. Does that
animal
work for
kingdom.
you?
And one of my favorite studies looks at the telepathic bond between pets and their owners.
About 50%
Bruh.
of dogs and about 30%
Now they're
of cats
getting
know
autistic
when their
dogs,
owners are
bro.
coming home.
His study on this led to his book, Dogs That Know When Their Owners.
Oh no, they brought the dogs into it. The good boys are being taken advantage of too. Quantico Institute for
There's
Psychic Research
evidence
still does
dogs
that
know when
test.
their owners are coming home.
About the time they get hungry every day? I don't know.
Yeah, there's Pavlovian response has been a thing since like fucking 18th century. Like
Lassie's
1800s?
story was real. I fucking quit. This is making my face
Alright,
hurt. I've been
well.
laughing this entire time.
Owners are coming home.
Dude, it's
Definitely check
so
it out
funny,
if
but
you
it's
wanna
so
know more.
sad,
Here's how we found
dude.
what he did.
We set up cameras to film the place the dog waited. And then we had the owner go at least 5 miles away and come home at a randomly chosen time they didn't know in advance.
But have you
And
considered,
this
UD,
wasn't
that
just
these
one
dogs
dog,
don't have
they did it
feelings or
several dogs,
imaginations?
and it was replicated by a skeptic. To his surprise, he got just the same results we did.
Dr. Sheldrake's team would ping the dog owner with a pager when it was time to go home.
And to rule out familiar car sounds, we had them come home in a different taxi every time. And what we saw over and over and over again was the dog started anticipating the arrival of the owner when they received the call to start going home, when their mind turned homewards.
Exactly. Like, that's the same conclusion I came to. I respect the hustle because it's such an obvious scam, but they needed to justify getting government funding. Like, for real. A taxi still sounds like a taxi. Yes. And the taxi is showing up at this home.
They do the experiment where like they keep the owner at work for like 8 hours, or like sorry, not 8 hours, fuck, like till 8 o'clock or something, and then see like if the dog's getting excited like around 4 or whatever the fuck. Still, did no one even consider that? Did they only think like, oh, let's just change the fucking car?
Considering the way the methodology for most of these experiments have gone, no, I'm gonna say they never thought about that. The 1960s to the 1980s, mental health research really was a joke and writes itself. A schizophrenic, a biochemistry degree holder, and a therapist walk into a bar. It gives him brain damage, and now he thinks blind people are telepathic. Most nonprofits funded by the government grants are excuses to steal money from the government. Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what my conclusion is here. They're literally just stealing and making sure the money keeps flowing. This is bonkers.
Tested this with multiple dog owners and their animals. And what they found is right when the dog owner started thinking about home is when their
how many
animal would go to
Bugattis
the
they
window
got.
or door to wait. And sometimes something unexpected happened after the page had come through. For instance, there was once a flat tire, or someone's boss would call and say, "You've got to come back into the office."
On quite a few occasions, people set off to come home, and then they were interrupted. And what happened is the dog started
good
by
pure
waiting
absinthe.
by the door as if she was coming home, which she was. But then when she
Stop
stopped
it,
coming
Ike.
home, it lost interest and drifted away. So I think this
Bro,
shows that
why?
what was
Oh,
going on
Lord,
was
so
telepathic
retarded.
connection with the owner.
That's right. Dogs know when their owners are coming home, so telepathy is true. And this was replicated by skeptics, apparently. Well, I don't know which nameless skeptics they're talking about, but psychologist Richard Wiseman replicated these experiments and showed quite clearly that the results are explained by routine patterns, anticipation, and selective data. We can say the same thing about any other such.
I mean, if true, Ike, that would be the best Sixth Sense ever. Far better than telepathy.
experiment.
And dogs just also have really good hearing and smelling senses, right? Like if you're within a few, I don't know, tens of feet around the house, they can probably sense when you're close to the door. So you can probably be like, get into a car and just wait outside the door and wait for like an hour or 2 hours before getting in. But the dog already knows that you're waiting outside the door.
Yeah, no, the controls on this were horrendous.
If you want to replicate the experiment that way.
That's why I'm not shocked that none of this is peer reviewed. Somebody would have come up with a better control like almost instantly.
That has been done the most over the past 50 years or so is called the Gansfeld telepathy method.
This telepathy test requires a sender and a receiver.
The Gansfeld technique for investigating extrasensory perception isolates a subject, the receiver, in a darkened room. All she sees is reddish light. All she hears is white noise.
If you're in that condition for about 15 minutes and you don't fall asleep, it pretty quickly puts you into the state like just before you fall asleep, the hypnagogic state. And so it's like a dreamlike reverie state.
Then the sender, who is far away in a different room, looks at randomly selected photographs and tries to send the image telepathically to the receiver.
Are we being serious?
So after close now to 4,000 such sessions run by at least a couple dozen laboratories around the world over 5 decades, the overall hit rate, as we call it, the number of times that the receiver correctly chose the right target, is 30 to 31%.
What was his right target? Wait. She just said that the sender sees an image, and the receiver tells what the image is, and now she's talking about a target.
Yeah, this is confirmation bias, like by textbook.
No, but like, what is the target? Like, are there, like, is the image from like those cards where it's like from a set of 5 different images, and then the receiver has to pick what image was seen by the sender or some shit?
I really wish I
Or is it
knew.
just any image, random image?
I'm wondering if they're going to give us the criteria, but like, I don't know. But the idea that the way this control is set up, it's guaranteed. Remember, it's a 30% hit rate and 30% guess rate, meaning this is only actually properly panning out in 1 out of 10 studies. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they're counting the hits and just ignoring the misses at that point.
You know what would be funny? If you had like a sender and a receiver, and you told the receiver that within 10 minutes the sender is going to start sending you messages and you're going to have to tell us what it is, and just never do anything to the sender. Just like keep them in a room, don't show them anything.
See how
Watch
long
the
it
receiver
takes
just
him.
make shit up.
Oh, this just keeps getting more ridiculous. And this is the current stuff. This isn't even the 1990s stuff.
Of guessing at about a 30% rate is a gazillion to 1 odds against chance.
A gazillion
Don't
to
you
1.
dare.
Odds
Gazillion
so
to 1.
unlikely
Don't
that
you
they can
fucking
be
co-opted
justified
my
by numbers that
term
aren't
for
real.
gazillion.
Anyway, when such tests are repeated, the alleged telepathy effects disappear completely as controls are tightened. This means real randomization, no sensory leakage, careful documentation, and no
Like, there is no way to like what MITA did is a proper calculation of odds. What they're doing is complete bullshit. They should be
I
ashamed.
genuinely think we've put more effort in kind of predicting what's gonna happen in a test than they did in the actual test.
This is downright insulting, and these people all make more money than us, more than likely, or at least did at the time.
Well, I'm hoping they ran out of money or are dirt poor, and that's why I had to have to start a shitty podcast.
Well, this one's still grifting, so I'm sure those bucks are coming in. Cheese on bees.
selective reporting. Just another instance of shitty research that can't be duplicated by anyone else. But don't worry, they're going to say quantum a bunch of times. That's how you know that magic is
Oh,
real,
God.
when you say the word
Yep.
quantum while talking about it.
What appears to be happening is
Don't
so
you
much
say it.
more complex and mysterious than simply the transfer of radio waves or electromagnetic waves.
Those ways of thinking about it fall into the category of classical physics, where we know about fields and forces and so on. So the only opening that we can think of at this point
Demonstrate
that
that.
doesn't violate what we know about physics would be quantum physics. Because in quantum physics, we have the notion of non-local connections.
The word quantum simply refers to the tiniest little particles that make up you, me, and everything around us. And quantum physicists, the people studying these particles, have discovered that two particles can be linked or connected in a way where
Oh
what
God!
Wait, I gotta read what Miner just said.
Uh-huh.
You'd be able to know if someone's seen something or not. If they get that racist image you just hit them with, go ahead, tell me what the sender sent you. Oh, jeez. Yeah, like I said, if it was me, it'd just be nothing but slurs and horrible actions. Go ahead, report that. See what you get.
happens to one instantly affects what happens to the other, no matter how far apart they are. They could be across the room or even across the universe.
You start
No,
encountering the
no,
possibility
no,
that
Oh,
pause.
dude, I got tears in my eyes from that last message.
This quantum locking effect has never been measured across the universe. First of all, like, Ancom would probably be able to tell more, but what they're saying that, oh, if you interlock quantum particles and then they can communicate, like, it's never been demonstrated. Like, over a short distance, yes, but not over this, like, the span of it. Like, as you increase the distance between them, they're not in sync anymore, or the quantum states aren't in sync anymore.
Zephyr, you're overthinking this. Have you considered that sciencey person said sciencey stuff is adequate?
Yes, I did consider it, and that's what bothers me.
Oh, this is so bad.
There's
information
more
can
than
be
half the video
transferred
left, so holy shit.
Yeah, because we can't help but like think about what happened, and then within a few seconds after we start the video back, they'd confirm what we already thought.
simultaneously from here to there.
So the obvious next question is, can humans become entangled?
So this is a bunch of bullshit. Quantum mechanics
humans
does not
become
allow for
entangled?
information to be transferred instantaneously by entangled particles. Quantum mechanics is non-local in the sense that particles can become correlated if they interact, and then they can keep that correlation when they separate. This is entanglement. If you make two particles in a special way, such that one has to be spin up and the other has to be spin down, but you don't measure them, then they have the possibility to be either up or down. The universe doesn't decide until you take a measurement, but it does insist that they have opposite spins. If you separate them and then measure one, that determines what the other one is instantly. If I measure mine to be up, then yours goes from undetermined to down. But you can't.
Have you considered that there's a quantum telepathic electromagnetic non-regulatory circuit in this person's brain that entangles their thought particles with another person's to send information telepathically? Yes, and I expect that that image is going to be racist.
Tell if your particle is undetermined or determined, so there's no information that is transmitted. Even though the particles are coordinated across space and time instantly, there's no way to use that to send a signal because the coordinated part is hidden. If I measure my particle to be up, you don't know that I measured it. You can measure your particle and find out that it's down, but you don't know if it was undetermined until you measured it or already determined. That's hidden from you, so there's no way to send faster than light information. This is basic quantum mechanics, and they are just objectively wrong. But again, it sounds pretty sciencey, and it has the word quantum in it,
See?
so many uneducated people will latch onto this as a plausible explanation for a thing that objectively is not happening.
The materialist paradigm believes that consciousness is created by our
The
little gray
materialist paradigm? Now they're insulting people that actually use rational thought because it harms whatever the hell they're doing. Like, come on.
They can't even be bothered to say scientist. They have to say materialist or material conforming. This is the fucking term they use, bro.
It's like human Wi-Fi. You just send a racist JPEG to your friend telepathically. But this could be used amazingly to gaslight your friends into thinking he's gay by beaming gay porn into his brain every chance you get. Oh no, this would be getting abused. That's what I'm saying. If most of these things were real, A, you wouldn't have hospitals. B, Vegas would be shut down instantaneously, and then C, like, people would be getting gaslit all over the place at all different given times, and we would already know. We just can't trust our thoughts. Like, we'd be completely screwed. And it would be hilarious.
brain and dies with our brain.
We assume that the world is made out of matter and energy, and that's the end of the story. Experiences like telepathy suggests that it may be more than that.
I think that these phenomena tell us that the materialist view of the mind is wrong.
I feel like
Almost
we can
sounds
probably
like a
put this
Discovery
at
Institute
2x.
blog post.
Cool. I can speed it up.
Maybe let's start out with like 1.5 and see if we can work towards 2.
Doesn't it? Totally unsubstantiated phenomena do not upend the entirety of physical science, no matter how much people want to pretend that magic is real. Philosophical pontification about how consciousness is fundamental is a fun mental exercise, but it's not science. Anyway, with the grift firmly elucidated and the quantum mystic angle exposed, we are ready to watch Kai push this grift in the...
Yeah, it's all bong rip science. This is freaking bonkers. And they got away with it too. If it wasn't for those meddling kids and that stupid dog.
flesh. After gaining some popularity with the podcast, Kai had her grift amplified by, who the hell else, Joe Rogan. Let's take a look at their episode now.
Okay, so what the podcast is about are non-speaking individuals who tend to have apraxia, which is a mind-body disconnect. And those individuals cannot speak with, using their voice. Speaking is a fine motor skill, whereas pointing to letters is a gross motor skill. So spelling to communicate is how many of these individuals communicate.
Spelling to communicate is rebranded facilitated communication, just like how intelligent design is rebranded creation science. No difference whatsoever. And FC was debunked conclusively, so there was no real discussion to be had here. But Joe and Kai are going to talk about it for almost 3 hours anyway, so let's go.
And with that in mind, I just want to say one quick thing, that often people historically have looked at people with apraxia or non-speakers, and they think that because they can't speak, they can't think, that they're not in there, they don't presume competence, and none of that is true. These individuals have a hard time controlling their body.
This is the cruelty of this grift. Kai is preying on the hopes of parents that their child would have a rich mental life. It's FC all over again. The exact same snake oil. Kai is revered for her lies that make people happy, while people like me have to be the bad guy and rain on the parade. The voice of reason that has to tell these parents that it has been conclusively proven that these communications are not coming from the child. Stupid, arrogant science is crushing people's dreams again. A tale as old as time. Those parents are the victims, and Kai makes herself out to be their ally, but she's just grifting. It's outrageous.
And then, of course, it comes out in many cases that these individuals can read minds, have a plethora of other, for lack of a better word, spiritual gifts. And then the parents and teachers often aren't believed about that either.
Yes, because that's absolutely not a thing. Some parents are desperate to believe that their child is the most special being in human history, and they will worship anyone who tells them so. There is no scientific basis for any of it.
When you say spiritual gifts, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so when I first stumbled into this, which we can talk about later if you want, when I first kind of stumbled into this, I thought this was just about telepathy, right? And that there were these individuals and their parents and teachers were claiming they could read minds. And as I started meeting more and more and more of these families, and again, the teachers, not limited to just families, one thing that they started telling me
What
was
up, Ice
the
House?
tip of the iceberg.
We're watching
And I didn't know
some
what that meant.
Professor
What do you mean
Dave
telepathy is the tip of the
and
iceberg?
autistic
and
telepathy.
It's true, because I think whether or not its ability to see disease,
Autistic
illness in someone, being able to
telepathy.
diagnose it before this person knows that there's something wrong, reading an aura, and saying that they can see color around not just animals and humans but plants, being able to speak multiple languages even though you haven't been taught them, or playing instruments and knowing music, or being able
And
to
I
access
agree with
almost
you,
any
Maida.
song and having perfect pitch, being able to visit people.
You would
in
hope
dreams.
there's some sort of punishment for people this
And then,
monstrous.
I think some of the more just like mind-altering, shocking things for me was how many non-speaking individuals have said that they are able to speak with people from the other side. And yeah, so
Ooh,
it didn't
you
just start with telepathy or end with telepathy. It's a plethora of things.
Now we see the arrogance of Kai in attempting to add all this other paranormal bullshit on top of the original FC angle. They can see diseases, so why aren't they early diagnosing cancer patients by the thousands?
That's what I was saying. There would be no hospitals. Vegas would be shut down. Like, the lottery would be a joke. Like, why are we even acting like this is real? You act like Vegas wouldn't see these people coming and be like, no, you're barred. Like, tell me what's on this card. We sped up the video, Ice House, because otherwise this is going to take forever because we keep stopping to laugh at it.
All over the world. They can speak languages without ever being taught anything about them. Then how come no they fucking can't? They can see auras, which aren't a thing, and visit people in dreams, and they can even talk to dead people. Move over, Haley Joel Osment. This shit ain't just for the movies.
So do you think that this is an emerging aspect of human
I don't want to
consciousness,
say it,
or do you think
Leafy.
perhaps this is
I
something
don't want to
maybe
say it. It's always the fucking white women, isn't it?
Leave Gwyneth Paltrow out of this. I'd be in jail.
It's always the white woman.
Imagine being someone who listens to this bitch, walks into a room of family members with her son, and one family member is like, your son seems to be a bit strange. Is he okay? And she replies, yeah, he's telepathic. I'd be in jail.
That fucking autistic kid would witness like actual abuse that night if that shit happened, bro, to any of my nieces or nephews. If their mother said that they're telepathic. Holy shit.
Oh, the tears in my eyes. Ooh. Yeah, I'd be
before we
inconsolable.
were verbal, that we've lost, but that lays dormant, like that we don't need it. So like a muscle, it atrophies.
Yeah, I think
What,
that's exactly
Joe?
right. I mean, I think we all have these abilities. I think this is all part of
If
us.
someone
and
says
it's one of the
pineal
things in
gland,
episode
I'm
5
gonna
in
lose
particular,
it.
We get into animal communication through telepathy.
Joe is up to his usual stonery tricks, looking for ways to make magic sound scientific. That's what Kai is here for as well, and both of them for money. Some animals are smart and learn patterns. Astounding. That doesn't make them psychic.
And many of us have had that experience of phone telepathy, where, I was just thinking of someone and they call.
People like to dismiss that as being just coincidence,
Oh,
but
God.
I just
Oh.
why do people want to dismiss everything? Like, that's the problem.
Oh, it's like someone just took an ice pick to my brain real quick when I heard that. Oh, and when you're thinking about someone and they call you, how many people do you know that call you? I don't think she has friends. Or somebody would have told her she's full of shit. Yeah, my fucking spirit muscles atrophy because I don't use them. I need to add 50 spirit ups to my fucking workout. No, it's because you have a calcified pineal gland that's influencing your ability to get the psychic thoughts through. That's all it is. Gotta decalcify your pineal gland.
Problem is gullible people getting upset when rational people remind them that their fantasies aren't real. We aren't dismissing everything. We are dismissing baseless pseudoscience. Phone telepathy, you think of someone and then they call? Really? Every single time you think of a person, they immediately call? Or is it that 1 in every 1,000 times you think of someone, they happen to call around that time by coincidence, and you employ staggering levels of confirmation bias to pretend that you have psychic powers because you have the delusional, self-centered mentality of a preteen? Yeah, that would be the explanation, kids. Normal people require consistent
woman.
empirical demonstrations of phenomena.
What'd you say?
I said white woman when he said delusions of a teenager.
You fucking kill me.
in order to accept them as real. And none of this shit has ever done that or will ever do that.
So if you're a scientist and you're studying human neurochemistry and you're studying neuroscience, there's no way you're going to support this unless it's just beating you over the head with overwhelming evidence. And then perhaps you say, maybe there's something here.
I think that's changing, actually.
You know?
And one of the things that we look at in the telepathy tapes in episode 6, which we call our science episode, is this idea of materialism, which I'm sure you've heard of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this idea that, at least for the past few hundred
implying
years,
that
that
the other
reigning
episodes are not
philosophy around
science.
how we interpret the world
True.
is only true if we can measure it and observe it, right?
I forgot I don't have enough
makes you seem
midichlorians
foolish if
to
you
make
believe in
my
something that can't be
telepathy
measured, or
gland
like
work.
psychophenomenon
Exactly.
like telepathy or precognition or dreams being
It's
able
the
to communicate
fluoride
with
in the
someone, or
water.
any of that stuff would be thrown out as being silly. And I think there's been a massive effort to make that true, right? That if you believe this or you're a scientist and you want to publish this, we're going to dismiss you or ridicule you just for even daring to ask that question.
No. Hold up. The idea that if you find some pseudoscience, if you manage to get a testing criteria together, get it peer reviewed, and show that these tests are successful through repeatable methods, no matter how hard they want to laugh at you, they have to say, well, looks like there's some merit to this. The fact that you know that they're going to call you out for being full of shit is the problem. The persecution complex in these people.
I'm kind of like losing words because it's one of those things that it's just happened so many times. It's kind of hard to repeat the same shit. But the history of science is a graveyard of ideas that people for decades thought were not unfalsifiable, but like almost unchallengeable. And then pretty much overnight, those ideas were completely destroyed through new findings, through like new experimentation and all that.
And they say that's a flaw in science, and that's actually the good thing about science, that you can find a way to falsify whatever the proposition
when it works in
is.
their favor, like this psychic bullshit, then all of a sudden, so we are gaining respect from scientists. This field is getting respect from scientists all of a sudden. Like, they'll just make shit up, but they'll make it seem like, look, even scientists agree with it, saying like, science has credibility. And when science works against them, it's like, science is always changing. Why the fuck do we need to believe in science?
Seriously, that like
fucking Joe Rogan grift.
I don't know if you were here for that whole Bones of Doom versus Kung Fu Joe thing, but when he gave the criteria for how to falsify evolution, it was just, I ain't trying to hear it. But like literally, that's how you know whether it's some merit to it. So
I mean, Kung Fu Joe is just like a genetically deformed or genetically defective human, like probably closer to a chimp than a human being. So can't really comment on that.
I mean, considering what he said about me during the process of it, they're going to dismiss my studies as pseudoscience because I have no evidence on this topic that's been historically discredited. But they haven't considered, they're just not open-minded enough. Joseph Rogan. Yes. All right, let's see.
What did Kung Fu Joe say about you?
Oh, he did the whole, so you believe in evolution, so you believe humans are apes.
That Leafy's an ape and all that shit.
Yeah, and he only named black people at that point.
Yeah.
So it's like, you made it racist. It could have not been racist. You just decided it had to be racist. He's like, I'm sorry this man called you an ape, Leafy. No, that this was you. You shoehorned it that way. I'm sorry, Leafy me.
Don't get me started on that fucking 6 rapist piece of shit. All right.
People for asking questions. We ridicule people for insisting that magic is real with absolutely zero legitimate evidence. You're whining about people only believing in things that are measurable and observable as though that's some kind of character flaw instead of the way that literally every person should behave. It's irrational to believe that something exists with zero basis. You're chastising scientists for not having blind faith, for requiring that something be tested before it is accepted. So you're basically upset that scientists are scientists. And of course, it's also much worse than simply having no evidence for what you're saying. All the existing evidence disproves it. FC is bullshit. It doesn't work. You're trying to revive it for your grift because you're too lazy to come up with something new to make money off of gullible people. And finally, this angle of painting scientists as closed-minded. They dismiss you for daring to trailblaze into exciting new
Joe
areas.
Rogan is the type of fucking idiot.
Wait, he's agreeing with you right now. He's saying the thing you were saying.
They dismiss you for
Yeah.
daring to trailblaze into exciting new areas, always ignoring evidence and hot truth that shatters
Another
their
$1 million
archaic
for me.
paradigms. Can we stop falling for this shit? Quantum mystics,
What am I, like,
pseudo-archaeology
$5
frauds,
million in?
creationists, electric universe proponents.
But yeah,
they all
pause it, pause it. Like, Joe Rogan is the type of retard who, when he sees those like Chi fighters, he will laugh at them because he knows UFC. But when he sees the Chi shit in like a fucking FC video, he'd be like, "Oh my god, look at look at these psychic workers, bro! Like, holy shit, these kids! It's just the vaccines are making them psychic. They have too much power over us."
It's all the Tylenol. Yeah. This is rough. I called the open-minded argument. Yeah. Oh, okay. See, everybody gets a
where's my
podcast
fucking
now.
podcast, dude?
Everyone
Where's
gets a
my fucking-
podcast now. We have all earned our podcast.
do this. This is never anything but a rhetorical device employed by frauds to get people to believe that their bullshit is better than real science.
Research about this type of stuff has been dismissed because it's materialist, scientists who for a long time run the journals.
She is flat out claiming that nobody can publish on this stuff, which isn't true. Sheldrake has published on this. People looked at it, followed up on his claims, and proved it was bullshit. This trope about the cabal of evil materialist scientists gatekeeping the journals is just another tired tactic. Work has been published, and it has been shown to be bullshit. Not by a singular pharma shill or some special interest group, but by the global scientific community. Kai has zero ability to address any of this research and won't even bring it up because it's inconvenient for her grift.
Think of materialism as a pyramid, right? And the base of the pyramid and all the things that have built up our world, which are biology and physics and chemistry and all those things. Those have rules and properties, and we shouldn't throw those out. Those are pretty much true. But currently at the top of the pyramid is
Pretty
consciousness.
much.
And we can't explain where that comes from and why it's there. But if you just take consciousness from the top and put it on the bottom, so that consciousness is the basis of all reality, right? That consciousness is fundamental. That all of everything is...
Bruh.
What the fuck is she saying, dude?
Consciousness exists even in animals. It's been proven at this point. Like, it's in any sentient being, there's some... I think they've even found that there's consciousness in atoms. So, like, to act like this is out of the ordinary, it's just a property of things in this universe. We have consciousness. So to act like it's some magical, mystical thing, like, oh, there's some form of ability to process things, there's going to be an output, whether it be through actions, through speech, or whatever. That's all consciousness is. Yes, she did say the materialism pyramid, then literally switch the formation to be idealism in real time. Yes, someone hit her. It won't be Joe, unfortunately.
I'd love to have a discussion about consciousness one of these days, but they just sour the mood so much. I love the idea of consciousness, right? Like when you think about things like, okay, if consciousness exists, and if so, did the fucking iPhone exist in the 1980s? Was it an idea back then? How, like, at what point, if we are using a materialistic worldview, at what point do ideas which we think of just neurological connections in our brain, like, is that existence? Because if that's existence, then anytime you think of an idea, it technically exists.
That was part of the argument that I had with, I think it was Jim Bob when I actually talked to him, when he was trying to say that concepts are real things, like there's some way to access them in some immaterial plane. And I'm just like, no, concepts are just our thoughts. Like, literally, we can conceive of all sorts of different things. It's just very difficult for us to conceive of things that we've not experienced. And so, like, I want to say it was back when I was in high school, and yes, I'm old, when we started getting flip phones and chirps and shit. And I was like, man, it would be freaking awesome if I could access the internet through my phone and actually be able to have, like, mobile internet. That would be a great thing. So, yeah, I thought of the fucking iPhone back in the day, but it's not like we had the technology, like, you know, to get that done. We didn't have the Wi-Fi in that way.
Yeah, and like the interface between ideas or thoughts and physical reality is consciousness. That's the thing that's interpreting what's in someone's mind and bringing it out to reality so that it's in everyone's mind. And that's such an interesting perspective to have on consciousness, but we can never talk about that shit like that. It's always, oh, it's fucking telekinesis and psychopathy and all this autism and all this bullshit.
Well, not just the iPhone, Rabbit. I know you're being literal on that, but I'm saying, like, the idea for any smartphone was just already in my head at a time long before smartphones existed. Does it mean, like, I had access to some weird consciousness? No, it's just, it's a logical next step.
Yeah, it's like the implication of some of the ideas that some of these people say when they say like, "Oh, thoughts and concepts they exist" and all that shit. It's like, okay, if we grant that they exist, then that means that what Lethe said would be true.
Freaking wild how they come to this. Well, I mean, it's part of the grip. My problem is she's touching on a major crux of modern philosophy, then literally bait and switching the definitions with something that's the exact opposite. This is a Hegelian dialectic 101. Ooh. So she knows what she's doing.
I mean, she's a white woman, so I doubt that she does.
Brutal.
If she were an Indian woman, then I'd be like, yeah, she's grifting 100%.
What Rabbit is doing the thing. Maybe you thought of it then because you thought of it now, and that thought traveled back in time to your younger self. If only I would have hit the lottery so many times by this point. Y'all would not be speaking to me.
You gotta go to the gas station, Lethe. Just stand at the like get like a fucking red light in front of your eyes, and then just concentrate till you're in like a trance state, and then try and receiving information from your future self.
Exactly. That's exactly what I need to do. I need to put myself in the flow state. I need to decalcify my pineal gland, summon my midichlorians, and let the lottery
And then
numbers
start
flow
contacting
through
the
me.
receiver or the sender.
No, I need to have Maida holding my hand while I pay lottery numbers.
First. Then we can account for all this stuff. Then we can account for precognition or telepathy. And it's not that big of a change. It's just flipping kind of the order of the pyramid.
Not that big a change. All we have to do is take for granted that consciousness somehow exists without cause and without the physical apparatus that is the only thing known to produce consciousness, thereby undermining
By the
literally
way,
all of science. And
now I can't stop thinking about it. Dude, we should, like 11 people watching chat and the two of us, or including the two of us, we should basically put ourselves in a trance state, write down like 6 numbers, and then buy lottery tickets from those numbers and see if any of us, because it'll be worth it, even if it's like a 1% success rate or whatever the fuck. Apparently it's 30%, so
Yeah, amongst all of us, I think we make
there's
like
a good
30
chance
bucks.
that we're winning.
We'll make like $30 off that shit and spend probably
Dude, but
150.
we as a group, we as like however 10, 11 people, we have to promise to split the winnings evenly. Whatever we win.
See, Ike's in the same
like
spot I'm
10%
at.
of whatever we win is still gonna be plenty.
It's the fluoride, bro. It's ruining your pineal gland.
Bro, you're just making fun of my idea, dude. It's like a 30% success rate. Come on.
Oh no,
What
I'm
could
down.
go wrong?
I'm down.
Yeah, you're down, right? Okay, but we
Exactly,
all of us
my
have
man.
to promise to split the winnings evenly.
Everybody gets 5 cents once it's over and done with.
No, we're gonna win millions, billions, bro. It'll be worth it.
Absolutely.
Come on.
Might have said.
Yeah, we just have to put
$30.
ourselves in a trance state, right? Receive information from our future selves or from the lottery people who rigged the lottery, and then buy the ticket of that number and share it with the group so that if we do win, then nobody can say later on that like I didn't win and they ended up winning and just didn't want to share or some shit.
Yeah, I still think Miter's right. $30 off a $4,650 investment.
Where did he get the $4,650 investment? It's like 12 lottery tickets, dude. It's like $12.
I think it's the method itself, but worth a shot.
What you need to spend $400 to put yourself in a trance state. Just get some weed, dude.
Gonna have to be some really good weed to make me psychic.
Yeah, we'll get and just eat like 20 mils of weed.
If we win, your lack of faith is disrupting the mind bubble. There it is.
Yeah, I'm confident it has a 30% success rate, and if we multiply that across 10 people, at least 3 of us have to win.
This tracks. If I'm telepathically winning the lottery, I'm buying an expensive ticket. I want to be rich. Yeah. Throw them dollars
We start
down.
out slow, okay? We don't want to rig the system against us.
Yeah, we don't want them finding.
We don't
us
want to
out.
come across. Yeah, or at least one of us will have to basically be elected president to then pardon all of us.
Oh no, we're screwed. We're in California. That's never gonna happen.
No, and any one of us, not just you and me.
And then you forget
Oh wait,
we have
Rabbit's in
Canadians.
Canada, so that
Yeah,
doesn't
we have
count.
Canadians.
Yeah.
This is international crimes now.
Hmm.
And what if we run out of midichlorians? I hadn't thought about that yet.
Now my bullshit can be science. Once again, this is a primary tenet of quantum mysticism, and there just is no basis for it whatsoever. The only things we know that exhibit consciousness are brains, so it's not weird to suggest that brains or brain-like structures produce consciousness. Kai
There
takes
we
advantage
go.
of her audience's ignorance towards neuroscience and just asserts her blind argument from ignorance. I went over a lot of this stuff when debunking Michael Egner of Discovery Institute and how consciousness is inextricably linked to brain structure and function, so check out that video if you want more hard science on this topic. Creationists and quantum mystics seem to have this common ground, since consciousness being fundamental to reality is their way of trying to substantiate the idea of their deity existing.
50 to 100 years.
We have to run this
the
on
scientists
tribal
that
lands.
we're moving
No,
on to the materials
I am
paradigm,
not going
I really believe that that's gonna be
victimize
kind
the
of
tribal
the
lands
flat
like the
earthers
rest of them.
in the future. Like I think the scientists doing this are on the right side of history because you have to account for it.
There is no materialist paradigm. It's called science. You're describing science. Science is the study of the natural world. It follows empirical evidence, and it does not resort to supernatural explanations ever. If you had any legitimate evidence for your claims that were repeatable and verifiable in controlled settings, such that any researcher could reproduce them, scientists would be persuaded. It's happened countless times in virtually every field of science. You don't have that. You have stories that specifically contradict the evidence. You have a fucking podcast. You're the flat earther, and I'm exposing you just like I do to flat earthers.
The concept is that essentially the universe is formulated through consciousness.
Tribal
in some
lands
way,
have plus 10
and that we're
superpowers.
interacting with it through consciousness,
Yeah.
and that it's not
All that
as
good
real
prana.
as we want to believe it is.
I think they'll,
Yeah,
if you do the
anything
rain
just
dance on their
basic
tribal
enough.
lands, they'll allow you to buy a lottery ticket.
Right, I'm a victim. I can ask my tribe to let us borrow a graveyard or something for our lottery scheme, where we link our brains or something. I guess they've heard dumber shit. Oh,
Right? Like this room. What came
Okay.
first, the room or the thought of the room? Everything in this room. It was a thought first.
Right.
Oh, she said the same.
you
she said
fucking-
the, she said the thing, dude.
Right.
Way to completely negate the entire angle in one breath. Yes, humans
She
think
said
of
the
things and then make those
thing.
things. It does not then follow
Dude,
the whole universe was
get
conceived of prior.
fucking John Randy. What the fuck is his name again?
get James Randi in here right now.
James
I need my
fucking
money.
Randy.
I need my money, James.
Run me my money, Randy. Run me my fucking money.
Oh, jeez. It just keeps happening.
It goes to show it's like a limited fucking dialogue tree, dude. There's only so many things you can say when you're discussing this shit.
I mean, to act like it's special is just extra goofy. It's not like we haven't had grifters doing the same damn thing since, like, what? As long as human societies really existed? How does he keep forgetting his name? Because the Akashic record has not linked functionally to Zephyr's brain. So
yeah,
he keeps-
my psychic abilities are busy predicting this video right now, so I can't tap into James Randy's brain.
Because he got high. Because he got high. Because he got high. La da 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 da.
I'm surprised you didn't react to the Afroman shit.
Oh, I when it first happened in the first place, and he put out the music video for Lemon Pound Cake, I was already on it, so I just figured everybody's covering it. What do I need to do it?
Okay, fair enough.
It was freaking hilarious, of course, but
It was like one day I did not know any of this shit was happening, and then the next day, like the day he won his case, is like holy shit! Like it's basically just from that day I know exactly what happened to him, how long this has been going on. It's like in just 3 days, I have so much information just consumed on this Afro man who I had not thought about for 30 fucking years.
yeah, I
Or
think I
ever since
covered
that song
it
came
like
out.
the week after the raid happened, and they started putting out the info, and he had the music video up. I did it on stream. I think Jenny was here. I don't know if you were here that day, but yeah, it's
Probably not, or
been a
maybe I was
thing.
like turned it off when at that point or something.
This is a while back, so I forgot it was even still going on. But court cases take a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was laughing my ass off, especially at the suit he was wearing. That was genius.
Dude, that is like that will be one of those iconic images that people make gifs out of and like will stay in our consciousness for a few years.
Yeah, I don't know who posted the meme. I can go back and look, but it's like, what job? Oh, it was Maida. what Japanese people think Americans look like, what Americans actually look like.
It's actually look like it's the same food.
Pure comedy.
To its existence. That's not an argument. There is a way to explore these kinds of ideas in a philosophical way, but that's not what Kai and Joe do. It's just, what if random stonery idea, therefore maybe all of science is wrong because I want it to be. Nobody has to have thought of a rock for a rock to form, or a tree, or a whole planet. We understand how these things form, and these processes can be readily understood by anyone who takes the time to learn introductory geology, biology, and astrophysics. That's what is so perplexing about this way of thinking in the modern era. 1,000 years ago? Sure, we knew practically nothing, so stab in the dark for whatever epistemology fits. Now we have actual knowledge. Your worldview has to either take what we know into account, or you have to just admit that you're a delusional science denier. It's as simple as that.
I was reading this book. I was in this moment of just major shift in my life, and I said, whatever I do next, I want to solve the question of where we're going and why we're here and what it all means and do we have a consciousness and does it survive? And then, and no, I actually didn't ask it. I said, I'm going to do this next. And I didn't know what it was going to look like, but then started reading, all the things I got in consciousness, tree communication, and about near-death experiences, and Ian Stevenson's work, and all sorts of things. And then I heard a podcast with Dr. Diane Hennessy Powell, who was a Harvard, Johns Hopkins educated, taught Harvard scientist, who was saying that non-speakers that she tested had demonstrated a remarkable ability for telepathy and reading minds. And that was like boom, like lightning, just kind of hit. Like this was the thing.
This is it. This is the bullshit I'll use to make money off of people. It's already prepackaged and ready to go.
She was like, Eureka, I have my grip.
Mysticism and spruce up the branding, and I'll make a fortune off of this crap.
Did you have a preconceived notion of telepathy or spiritual gifts or anything before this?
No, I mean, I think like a lot of people, like the idea of mediums and psychics, it felt like people that are often trying to just make money off of people in really vulnerable situations.
Yeah. Oh, but I'm the real one.
Since that's exactly what it is.
I'm real.
You're lying to make money off of desperate, vulnerable parents.
Because as I tumbled into this world, I mean, I was really wide-eyed as like, wait a second, have I been wrong about everything? And that's kind of where it ended up, was like I had to go revisit everything I ever thought about the world because I started realizing our entire paradigm is wrong. I mean,
bullshit.
A lot of it is.
Is it though? Or is that just a story you use to sell your grift? If the entire paradigm is wrong, why does science work so well? How do we create technology that works and improves our quality of life? And if the brand new paradigm you're selling is so much better, why is it so fucking pointless and fruitless and easy to debunk? In general, this song and dance about paradigm shift is always a red flag. This is the rhetoric of pseudo-intellectuals who skim Kuhn and then say any science that disproves their fantasies must be wrong because it's the old paradigm and my pseudoscience is the new one. That's not how paradigm shift ever worked, even the actual legitimate instances of paradigm shift, which I've explained in many other videos. But the point is that new paradigms are welcomed in science when they are empirically validated by mountains of evidence generated through immaculately controlled experiments. So the polar opposite of what Kai is talking about, a bunch of shitty experiments that are easily debunked by real researchers. She wasn't persuaded by any evidence, she was persuaded by the sound of a cash register.
Dr. Powell had just been reached out to by a family in Mexico who discovered that their 13-year-old daughter was inside. They didn't think she was, and she was able to communicate. And the reason they discovered that was during COVID. They were in charge of homeschooling and started being like, okay, let's see what you know. And bing, she starts spelling, she knew an awful.
This sounds like lockdown psychosis. Like literally nothing better to do and just started hearing voices and seeing shadows. And she's trying to make it out like it's an actual phenomena.
A lot, and I think they were shocked. And pretty soon thereafter, she said, I can read your mind. And they thought, what? And they would do tests. What did I just draw? And she'd say what they just drew. What are we thinking? And she would write it. And so,
do they say what they see, or how they see it? Like if someone writes something down, do they see the word or do they know it?
Well, I think that's a really good question.
Joe does occasionally ask a good question, since deep down under all those layers of sweaty, credulous rube, there is a kernel of skepticism.
Sweaty, credulous rube.
What is this kid in Mexico doing? She wrote something down. How did she write it? Did she have help? What's really happening? These are the crucial details, the crux of all of this, because it's in these details where we realize that the child...
Seriously, now, since we're living in MAGA world, we got to bring back calling people rubes. That needs to come back.
I didn't know that was an insult. I thought that was like a vegetable or something.
Are you talking about rhubarb?
Oh yeah, rhubarb, sorry.
Yeah, calling someone a rube just means that they're easily fooled.
It doesn't sound as insulting, I'll be real. It sounds kind of like...
That's why when Kim Jong-un called Trump a dotard, it was freaking hilarious. It's like, he got insulted with a word he doesn't even know what it means. I think that's even more rewarding. Then they have to look up the word that you're insulting them with, and then it hits harder.
Fair enough.
I did that to a buddy of mine who has a speech impediment. His R's are W's. So I told him he has a condition that he can't even pronounce. He speaks with eroticism. And then he had to look it up, and he's like, fuck.
is not communicating at all. It's facilitated communication. Kai completely glosses over this fact because she knows that FC has been completely debunked. That's why she updated the terminology. If she called it facilitated communication, people might Google that term and see that it has been debunked. It's a rebranding to insulate the grift. She changed the lingo and doesn't even mention the critical details. These are your red flags.
We've done a few experiments that, again, I'm not a scientist. Like the experiments I was doing for the film, which is going to be now a film, but the podcast was kind of me just trying to understand, like, proof of concept, what is going on here, right?
Right. You're not a scientist. Your experiments
No,
aren't
Ike, he
scientific
only knows
whatsoever,
the best
and all the
words.
real
He
science that
doesn't
has
know
been done
all
on
the
this topic
words.
proves you wrong. But let's talk for another 2 hours as though your fake science is worth more than real science and proves that magic is real.
Was in like the tea room at Cambridge one time and telling young Dr. Sheldrake, young Rupert here, that he just heard of a blind boy that he tested who obviously is blind and can't read an eye chart. But if his mother is looking at it, he could read it.
Whoa.
And that's how Rupert Sheldrake saw it.
Cool story, bro.
That was the shittiest whoa ever.
Did. There were no controls, no verification, no follow-up study, no attack.
Bunch of sentences will always make me laugh. But when her mother was looking at the chart, he could see it. Bro, what the fuck?
Every damn time. Like I said, this is just gonna get worse and worse.
No double-blind setup, and this is being presented as serious evidence. A rumor about another rumor, but throw in the word Cambridge and the name Sheldrake, and that's all the Rogan sphere needs to hear.
When people talk about the government's connection to alien intelligence, that they recruit
What
these
the
nonverbal
fuck,
autistic
dude?
kids
Talking
because they're the
aliens.
ones who can communicate with
Bruh.
aliens.
I don't believe that.
No, I don't believe it either. No, it's the wackiest of conspiracy theories.
No, totally. I don't believe it either. I was just checking. Kai wants to stay in the shallow end of the pseudoscience pool today, so take it down a notch, Joe.
And when you see it, and when you talk to enough parents who are saying, all you need to do is go see it. It's not like does it show up or like will it appear? It's like for the parents and teachers.
Thank
who report
you,
this is happening,
Jenny.
if you go over
Welcome.
with a speller, you just see it.
This is nothing more than a recruitment pitch. There is no offer of evidence. Just go see it. It's like saying that going to see a magic show and being unable to figure out how the trick is being done means that magic is real. This is just persuasion. Eyewitness experience of FC is exactly what convinces facilitators they're not influencing the communication. Every FC researcher who ran actual controls was shocked to discover they had been unwittingly guiding the board. You just see it is how the illusion works. Rigorous.
Yeah, as I like to say to people, especially to the Christians in my family, fake magic is real, real magic is fake. Always remember that. They don't get it, by the way.
Science is how the illusion gets destroyed.
The first person we saw being able to do it was this girl, Mia, and she was still in the early stages of learning to spell to communicate, so if she was being touched, it often helps like first with the wrist, and then here, and then here, and then on the head, and then often then there's no touch at all, right? It's just like learning that body and learning those supports to control your motor. So so Dr. Powell was like, no scientist will take this because she was being touched. And I think a lot of us in the room were like, wait, people think her mom's sending Morse code? Like they plan, I mean, of course, that's ridiculous, it really is,
Right.
but then...
Wait. She's pointing out how it was falsified and acting like
Yeah,
it's not valid.
that's
Get
what
the
I'm hearing.
fuck out of here.
I was just
no,
gonna
you
wait to hear her complete line of sentence, but that's exactly what she's doing. That they did not get the result that they wanted, so they reverted the fucking experiment and then added the FC to get the results that they wanted.
This is crazy. She's literally showing how the sausage is made and saying this isn't how the sausage is made.
And that bald retard is just nodding along, and all his fucking thousands of followers.
Back
next
to it.
individual could do it across the room and wasn't being touched. And, anyone that we saw thereafter wasn't being touched. So that was pretty remarkable.
No, not being touched is not the scientific bar that needs to be cleared. A facilitator can influence communication just by being present, visible, and known to the child. Micro reactions, body language, subtle cues. No touch does not mean no influence. It's just a level of influence that can be reached over time and through familiarity. Real scientists know how to identify and control for these variables.
And she started spelling in a language and they didn't know what it is. So they looked it up and it was Portuguese. And then she started spelling in Spanish and they were like, this is wild.
Wait,
and she also
what?
started using hieroglyphics. And
What?
Yeah. And then they were like, well, how do we
Ain't
test
no
this?
way.
Because if we know the answer, she'll read our mind and know. So they had to just...
Which is wild
Yeah,
already.
yeah.
Like you have to worry about this kid reading your mind. It might be
Yeah.
bullshit.
So they had to like look up pictures of hieroglyphics and not know what the pictures were representing. To be like, okay, here's the feather. I mean, I don't know what
Right, whatever
hieroglyphic,
it is,
whatever,
yeah.
feather on top of a stone or whatever the picture was of. And here's this picture and this picture. And then she identified them. And then they looked them up and they were right.
Wow, all of them 100% accurate?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
As usual, we aren't getting any details here. Were the testers blind to the child's responses in real time? Could they see the letterboard? Were they reacting at all? You get nothing. This is the opposite of how science works.
Wait, Moon. You act like you didn't know this was going to be what happened as soon as we started this video. You had to have some idea that this is exactly what the next course of action was going to be. 100% accurate. Just like MAGA supports Trump 100% right now. I love it.
works, painstakingly documenting and isolating every variable. People present not knowing the answer is not a properly blinded experiment. How do we even know this actually happened?
I mean, I wasn't there for this. Her mom reported it to me, and it has the email that she received from the staff.
Okay, so the staff told the mom told Kai tells Joe,
Oh, we got to fill Ginny in. So, it's a bunch of pseudoscience, and this woman is saying...
Pause. Wait, pause. Don't gotta fill Jenny in.
Excuse me, Zephyr? On what we're watching.
You're the one who said it. You're the one who said it.
But yeah, basically this woman is trying to say that autistic kids are actually psychic. So there you go. Wrong kind. I had nothing to do with this, or else my pockets would be much fatter from this grift.
tells millions of people on his shitty podcast, which means we have third-hand hearsay about an uncontrolled anecdote, and this is supposed to be supremely scientific evidence of hieroglyphic literacy in a nonverbal autistic child. Got it.
This is what the whole hope is about the telepathy tapes, right? Is that people will start just putting money behind this research. Because for so long, research around this type of stuff wouldn't be funded because you just dismiss it.
She's people will start putting money behind this.
You know, I love so much names Manisha. She talks about her son. She goes, Akil is the data. You want to look at the data. You want the data. Like, look at my son. He's the data.
No, one parent's belief that their child is communicating telepathically is not data. It's a belief. That's the entire point of properly controlled research, is that we remove all the confounders, all the sources of bias. We isolate a single variable and test it. It is possible for beliefs about what we are observing to be wrong. Optical illusions exist.
Wait, I think Nair's onto something. I think this is better than the lottery. Hear me out. California is handing out permits for anything. We could be your autistic children that you teach. I think we're onto something here.
Quality daycare is what I'm hearing.
I can feel my pockets getting fatter as we speak. Let's go. My wallet is now going to be full.
Desires cloud judgment. There is a lot of emotional investment here. That's precisely where science should be held up above feelings. Kai wants to pretend that science is one big naysaying gatekeeper, but it's just not true. When facilitated communication was being touted as a revolution, a mountain of independent research was done. It got funded and it got carried out, and the conclusion was always the same. FC is not real.
Right. And some of these
Learning
parents are
Center 2.0.
desperate for answers. You
Leafy
know,
looks
they're not
Somalian,
in the question
fits.
of if
Damn
it's happening.
it.
They're wondering how it's happening. And I think I'm
Not
in
you
that part too. Like
too.
when the people that are just, is it possible? Is it possible? I think for most of us in this world, it's like, yeah, you're like 10 steps behind, man. Like, it's possible. It's not a matter if, it's why.
Nope. You don't get to just declare that this is a settled matter in your favor when the precise opposite is actually true. Before speculating about mechanisms, you have to establish that a phenomenon is real, and you haven't done that ever. Asserting certainty out of your asshole isn't how science works.
You know, there's such a stigma around spelling, and I feel so bad for individuals using spelling because they're in there and they are communicating, but people have said, oh, but you need these supports, so these
Come
can't
on
be your
through,
words, right?
Jenny.
Like for a spelling partner, let's say, you have to kind of
We
learn
can
to
all
be a
get
communication
rich.
partner. You have to learn to really understand like the mind-body.
I know Hammer.
Hammer's
but what is
confused
it-
about something.
But what is it this time?
Yo, I feel like calling people psychic when you mean autistic could be a really good insult as well.
We just developed a new meta. How you already so
Like-
close to death on the first floor? Because I'm failing miserably and not paying attention because I'm laughing too hard at this while reading the chat. I've died like at least 7 times throughout this stream. Michigan is the worst place to live in, to be honest. My sister moved there. That is why. Fair. The blind autistic people who are asleep can't type. How am I typing this right now? What's this like?
Sure, you want to put something Ike said?
Really? What's that?
Oh, that's Moon. Moon who sends curse shit.
Isn't that a little politically incorrect?
Oh, the hell with that. No one's gonna tell me who I can and can't work with, right?
No, I mean.
We got this one kid, Mongo. He's got a forehead like a drive-in movie theater, but he's a good shit, so we don't bust his chops too much. So one day, Mongo gets out of his cage. Well, it's just an enclosure.
No, but they keep him confined.
Right, yeah.
That's bullshit.
Well, that's what I said.
That's exactly
So I
what
went
they're
out,
doing.
I got him a leash.
A leash.
Yeah, one of
got
those
him
you
a
can
leash.
hook onto the clothesline, and he can run back and forth, and there's plenty of room for him to dig and play. That kid is really, he's really blossomed.
He's really
Now,
blossomed.
Taking the movies, baseball games, fun stuff. Yeah.
Sounds cool.
Oh yeah, it's cool for them, but for me, it's much more than that. For me, it's heaven, you know? Those goofy bastards are just about the best thing I've got going in this crazy world.
The fact that I immediately went for that is crazy. That was the perfect clip for this.
Disconnect and what's going on with the non-speaker in front of you, and sometimes their hand gets lost in space, so it's good to like pull the board away and like put it back in again. Or sometimes you have to cue them, like go for it, okay, get that letter, because that will help.
She
with
just
their
admitted to
motor pattern, right?
cues.
So those supports are critical, but people will look at those supports and say, oh, well, that must mean they're not typing independently.
Joe
But to me,
Rogan
that's wild is saying, oh, you need reading
can't
classes,
be
you can't read.
serious.
No, that's a support to help you read. You can
Right.
still read if you have reading classes, and that's how I think of the communication.
There's still
partner.
no influence on the words or letters being chosen.
No.
She just said.
That's exactly what's happening. And your pathetic glasses analogy does nothing to deflect from that fact. Reading glasses are inanimate objects that correct a physical optical defect. They aren't another sentient person who knows what the text says. The FC facilitator is not a passive lens. They're a person with knowledge, expectations, and the capacity to steer the communication, even if unconsciously. And it has been proven that they do that.
And it was a miracle. I mean, it was all over the news. This was great. And some of the first parents that
It's
were
a
using
miracle.
facilitated communication started reporting there's telepathy involved. And this was at Syracuse University in the 90s. Syracuse knew about this and started kind of bearing that information. And there was a lot of like kind of you'll be let go if you're teaching this and you're talking about this. So there was kind of big cover up. So this was new. This is not new that this was going on.
Cover up.
Wow, this
debunk
is fucking pathetic.
cover
She is
up.
referencing the Syracuse FC scandal we talked about. Controlled tests conclusively demonstrated that it's bogus. Families were torn apart by the false sexual abuse allegations. Personnel continue to allocate funds and effort towards propping up FC, all to the
We've
severe
come full
detriment of
circle.
autistic children and their families, despite the broader scientific community confirming that it's not real. She is actually referencing all of that, and she has the balls to call it a cover-up. They wanted to hide the telepathy, you guys. Conspiracy, whistleblower, super secret truth that Big Whatever doesn't want you to know about. Oldest trick in the fucking snake oil salesman book, and she's actually doing it. Unreal.
There were some claims of sexual assault. There's awful things that happened where what was being claimed didn't happen, and so people started blaming facilitated communication. Oh well, maybe they're pushing their hand or doing this or doing that. And I think for a lot of people who train in facilitated communication, you're using your hand to put pressure so the individual knows where the body is in space, but you're not pushing their hand. But there probably are some cases where that had happened. Well, anyway, so then it got kind of just stigmatized, right? It's pseudoscience. It's not.
Yes,
Oh yeah,
it's
the people
stigmatized
who
because it
did the bad
objectively
thing, they're the
pseudoscience,
bad
and it
ones.
objectively
Everyone
wrong
else is the
content.
good one.
People were prosecuted and imprisoned based on bogus FC outputs that were later proven to come from the facilitators, not the children. And she is framing it as some claims that people started blaming FC for. This kind of minimization of a proven lack of efficacy and the real-world harm it caused is profoundly unethical. Fuck you, Kai.
I'm one of these people that thinks like whatever the individual needs to help them communicate,
Right.
it's okay. If you need a little touch to know where your arm is,
Right.
or sometimes it helps you go faster if there's a little push. Like, I think go for it. Help these individuals get out there.
Right. This touch is not guiding them towards specific letters. This touch is just an affirmation, just to help them.
Yeah.
To help them relax, to help them connect.
Yeah, Joe, that's what people performing this technique believed until it was proven that, yes, this is specifically controlling the output. You're staring right at the truth, and you can't see it because you like the bright, shiny story better.
It would be really interesting to get them in front of some scripts that are very difficult to read. That's why I brought up cuneiform and Sumerian and maybe even that crazy Voynich manuscript. You know what that is?
No.
The Voynich manuscript is a book that is of an unknown language.
Chill out, Joe. You're not talking to Graham Hancock. Stay on topic.
But if you think of prayer, right, that's telepathy. If people who come back from near-death experience and they say they have these
Prayer
communications with
is
someone,
telepathy?
that's telepathy, right? Like,
I
if
mean,
a
you're
medium is talking
telepathically
to someone or getting
communicating with
messages from
God,
someone's
I
past,
guess?
Like, that's
I
telepathy.
don't
So if you
know.
think of baseline. To me, like all of this is proven for.
And then she said, like,
there's
talking to
if
dead
that word is
people?
triggering to someone, at least there's a conscious body. There's a consciousness in each of us that doesn't need a body.
No, none of that is telepathy. It's all different flavors of the same scam, and you're just articulating one of the reasons that people fall for a scam, and that is to believe that souls are
Thank you,
real
Nara.
because they're afraid to
At
die,
least somebody's
or because they want to
defending me
believe that
out
dead loved
there.
ones still exist. Prayer is meditation at best. Near-death experiences are entirely internal. Mediums are scammers. That is all.
Are you aware of the history of research in ayahuasca?
I mean, I
And
know
we've
what
gotten
it
the
is.
drugs.
One of the more interesting aspects of it.
Joe, calm the fuck down. Your drug experiences don't make magic real. You must be really bored to keep switching over to your favorite topics, but try to focus.
So they're going by this old concept that it's impossible to have any sort of psychic ability. So if you're proving psychic ability through spelling, this is obviously bullshit without any examination of it.
Yeah, I think that's a good summary.
No, that's a dog shit and objectively fallacious summary, since it has been examined thoroughly and shown conclusively to be the case that the facilitators are the ones spelling the words.
That seems like that's on them. I mean, if there's evidence that it works, like they should be brought up and people should say, like, what you're doing is a disservice, like a huge disservice for whatever reason, for your own ego, for
Yeah, I'm not
your
going to do
own-
that.
A precise reversal of reality as always. There is overwhelming evidence that it does not work, and yet frauds like like Kai keep pushing it for their own ego and for money.
And then often teach them over and over colors and shapes and teach them like they're not getting it, that they're not smart. So they've been robbed of their education. They've been robbed of an entire livelihood. So to admit that we've been wrong about this entire population and educating them wrong, I mean, that's a lot of reckoning. That's a lot of wrong.
No, facilitated communication robs these kids of their education by pretending they are communicating, and the reckoning is coming for frauds like you.
But if like anyone listening to this, the number one thing is that like if you think of a human rights violation, right? That non-speakers aren't allowed to go spell in schools to communicate, to participate socially.
Right.
You know, because these are individuals with
Yeah,
ideas
we've been
and thoughts
screeching
and
at it
hopes
this
and
whole
wanna date
time,
and wanna
Ginny.
have
It's
friends and wanna
great.
be involved and yes, they can't control their bodies, but they can communicate and to be leaving them out because we can't afford or we don't believe that you should have a communication partner in school. It's just mean. It's a human rights violation, I think.
It's bizarre.
Yeah, I mean
You're a
that's
human
also very
rights
bizarre.
violation.
It makes sense when you connect it to insurance and money.
Evil motherfucker.
How the fuck does it make sense when you connect it to insurance, Joe? FC facilitators are denied for these kids because it has been proven that it doesn't work. So if they're so evil, why don't they just approve the aid for all these thousands of kids anyway, charge out the ass for it, and rake in the dough? Make it make sense.
Because of spelling, if they'd say, hey, we will approve for spelling to be covered by insurance, every family could go do this. Right now, you have to spend thousands of dollars, often go to a conference, do an online thing. It's not cheap, it's not affordable, it's not easily accessible. I mean, it can be depending on where you live, right? But it's not easy. That would be a lot more money going away from ABA therapy.
Right, of course.
They'd still be getting the money, you morons. Whether it's one service or another, they'd be making money. This is such a pathetic attempt at conjuring up some big business boogeyman.
God,
Jesus
it's always
Christ,
the root
that's
of it all.
perfect
You
image.
get to it, there's someone who's profiting,
Right.
who doesn't want to stop profiting.
Yeah.
Said the two morons profiting off of misinformation.
Do you think this is something that you have?
I think we all have it. I mean,
But have you tried to encourage it in yourself, or have you tried to explore it?
This woman is exactly what Yakub tried to warn us about. Yep. That is the truth. You know, give them tools to communicate. Your hands are not tools. Well, I mean, basically, they're using the kids' hands as tools, and it's bad all the way around. ABA sucks, but she doesn't get to say that because this is so much fucking worse. Yeah, I mean, at least there's some efficacy to it. Not like this.
Okay. Mhm. Okay, the comments are actually roasting, even on Joe Rogan's channel.
What, you pulled up the video?
Yeah.
Couldn't help yourself, could you?
I mean, okay, there's a few down, like a few of the top comments that are absolutely cringe.
Yeah, there's going to be a bunch of people that buy into it, but a few people that watch Joe Rogan are probably disappointed with him at this point. And if they aren't, they should be.
Yeah, a lot of it's all the white women that are in support of this, and all the men are saying, "Yeah, this is idiotic." And just telling you, based on their profile pic and their whatever name, YouTube name, it's only the women that are agreeing with this fucking bitch.
All this is, it's the caretaker taking the kids' hands and pointing to letters and words with the kids' hands. They are not speaking. They are puppets for their parents. Yeah, absolutely. This was the beginning of it, and they showed that institute and pretty much broke it down to where everything afterwards just makes perfect sense. It's post a link in the Discord so I can be the sole white woman calling her a fucking fraud. Yeah.
Wait, she's not on Discord?
Because I would imagine
yeah.
that if I was doing this work, I'd be like, let me see if I can do this.
yeah, and I for sure.
So the grift is that nonverbal autistic children
Well,
have
she
ultra
doesn't even
special
seem
superpowers,
convinced.
but also we all have them, so those kids aren't special at all, and the grift is now meaningless. How are you so bad at this?
Because of the cultural restrictions that we have put on the idea of telepathic communication, even while you're saying this, I'm so fascinated and I believe it.
Oh,
sure.
in the
Part of
Discord,
me
sorry.
actually,
I thought you said
you know what I mean? It's like
of
that
the
part of you
Discord.
is strong.
Yeah.
The teeny tiny skeptic that lives inside Joe is shouting to get out. It's no match for his blind credulity at present time, but maybe one day. In the meantime, there are no cultural restrictions. That's just rational people mocking gullible idiots for believing magic is real. Stop trying to turn everything into cancel culture.
When you experience something over and over and over again, right? It's like, are all these parents and teachers all around the world and speech pathologists and principals and ministers and rabbis and everyone who's witnessed this lying? Did they all come in this great conspiracy to decide
can
that
just
we're
be
going to trick the
wrong.
world? or they're experiencing something and telling the truth.
Those aren't
Jenny,
the only
I
two
know who
options,
you
Chief.
are.
They can genuinely believe something is happening, but also be dead wrong about it. Thousands of people believed in FC in the 90s, and they were wrong. People who fall for your grift are wrong too. You, on the other hand, are fully aware that you're tricking these people. That's why you're a fraud. But in general, arguments from popularity are not evidence. It doesn't matter how many people believe a thing. That doesn't make it real. Billions of people believe in the literal truth of totally conflicting religious scripture, and all of them are wrong.
There's a motivation for someone who's a charlatan, right? You want to make money off of someone or something, especially when they're the most vulnerable, you're going to exploit this and et cetera, or it's for your own ego, your gain, or career, or whatever. You know, to date, because non-speakers have not been able to have the resources that they need to spell and engage in society, they've not been able to have a career yet. I mean, some have, but very few, or make money on their own, or, you know, be in the popular crowd, or have some cool whatever. And so what's to gain? What is to gain?
What's to gain? Did that shit just come out of your grifting mouth? What does Joe gain by platforming fraud after fraud after fraud for millions of people to tune in every week and get their heads filled with lies? Oh, not much, just a net worth of $250 million. And you?
True.
Only $1 million or so, but the answer is the same. A hit podcast, a film in production, a lucrative speaking platform, you name it. Popularity and cultural relevance is a currency. You make money
She
by
should
lying.
be
You're a
arrested for
fraud.
this.
Not the parents, not the psychologists, you. You are the one with something to gain. Ridiculous.
They're
I never
only
realized
protected
what
by the
special medium it is,
persecution
'cause you're talking directly into
complex.
someone's ears.
Yeah.
And you're just in their mind, like, and just can talk to them for a few hours. And this was a story that needed some real long,
Yes.
you know, exploration.
Also, it's fascinating, and that's what you really want out of a podcast, other than humor. You want it to be fascinating.
Yeah.
You know, you want it to lock in and excite you. You
Yeah.
know, and that certainly does that. And I think most people want to believe. You know.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
that's exactly
people
how
wanna
you
believe
take
in bullshit
advantage
that
of
makes
them.
them happy, and you get in their heads and feed them that bullshit for money, like a manipulative fraud. They're both saying all the quiet parts out loud. This is hilarious.
He was diagnosed with a really rare like autoimmune disease and then like stage 4 cancer. And he kind of realized, like, if I need to save my life, I'm going to die if I don't learn to like control my thoughts. And he was able to cure himself. And he sent me scans and the cancer's almost all gone. But I think that attention to thought and how thought can change your world and dictate what happens in your world really did something in his brain that allowed him to live in that mental space.
Yes, a man cured his own stage 4 cancer through thought control. No
Dang, I'm
oncologist
sorry,
involved,
Jenny.
no verification of the scans, no follow-up. Who the hell buys this shit? It's just story after story after story. Any extraordinary claim made by a believer is treated as established fact and then used to build the next layer of the grift, while any legitimate study that disproves any of this is treated as corruption. Blindly believing lies equals being open-minded, and having standards for accepting claims equals being closed-minded, according to a cult like this.
There's a big question mark right now on how to do these tests and how to prove it. And when I brought that up to a few non-speakers, one of the questions is like, why do you need to prove this with instruments? Like, the biggest spiritual gift, the most fascinating one is love. That will cause someone to jump into choppy waters and save someone and risk their own life. It's had mothers like have so much adrenaline they could lift up a car and save their baby. Like, love is the superpower.
Right.
And it's like it's true. And they're like, why aren't you trying to measure love?
Fuck.
And it's like, okay, good.
Oh,
point.
she is
So go on, measure
Jesus
love.
What the fuck are you
Christ.
rambling about? Why don't you measure love?
the
We already know
fuck?
love exists. You're trying to demonstrate that telepathy is real, so you have to test it. but you
She's
never do
literally
it
doing
to be
like.
empirical.
I know you said you didn't want to watch the Harry Potter trailer, but it's the power of love, dude. That's what Harry Potter is about.
I mean, wasn't the telepathy really all the friends that we made along the way?
No, it's the love, dude. It's love that causes you to lift cars.
I fucking can't. No, it's the adrenaline, you ignorant motherfucker.
Yeah, what causes the adrenaline, huh? Have you ever considered that?
Touche. Freaking crazy.
Oh my god.
Honestly, if we couldn't laugh at this, we'd be furious. Well, we're also furious, but the laughing takes the edge off.
Dude, I'm telling you, white women get away with so much bullshit,
And
dude.
then that brings up the question
If person of any other gender or race or ethnicity or anything would say the same shit she's saying, they would be fucking pelted stones at.
I mean,
Motherfuckers would be stoned to death virtually, dude. Because only white women can pull off saying dumb shit like this. I swear to God, bro. Like,
oh, Zephyr and his crusade against white
think
women
about
today.
it. Think about it. Think about it. Just like think about it for 5 seconds. Imagine her, like, what she's saying just coming out of the mouth of a person of different gender or ethnicity. Or sorry, race, not ethnicity, but
she's just
different. And it would sound so fucking dumb.
I mean, we had one of the best psychics. We had Miss Cleo. I don't know why people gave that woman money, but here we are. Yeah, hop on in. You hop in a room.
She's
I
gonna
will
scold
pull
me
you in.
for shitting on white women. Isn't she?
She should. You've been deserving this.
Hey,
for
I
a
love
while.
my white women, okay? I love my white women. My wife is white. Okay. But she says some dumb things sometimes.
Where's Jenny at? There she is. Hey, Jenny, you're muted.
I always mute like before I come into a chat, just because. So, a couple months ago, I was actually not months ago, actually a few years now. A friend of mine recommended this woman's podcast to me, and this woman is a social worker, not the woman in the podcast, the woman that recommended it to me. She's a social worker, works with a lot of families that are disabled and are going through a lot of shit. Because when you have autistic kids, trying to get them into any kind of services, like the only thing that Medicaid will pay for is ABA, and ABA is shit. Like it barely works, and it's abuse at best.
Yeah, pretty much.
Doggy training for children. So trying to find anything else that Medicaid will pay for is outrageous, right? So you do the best that you can with what you have. And you kind of become like this research tank where you want to research like the best possible practices for helping your children like be people. You know what I mean? And anyway, so I start listening to these podcasts, and it's just a regurgitated version of the Indigo Children shit from the 80s.
Oh, I remember that. The Indigo Children shit was wild. I should do a stream
Yeah.
about that too.
It's so crazy. My mom did the same shit with me. My mom was in like this little like I don't if you know anything about Mormonism, there are some like group they like form like little like mini sects. They're kind of like glorified book clubs, but some of them actually do some like damage, like as you can see in like they did in Idaho with those kids. But anyway, my mom was part of one of those. It was kind of a glorified book group until you got into it and you started listening to them talking about how all of our children are, they have these special things about them. They're not like other kids. They don't have a lot of friends. They sit in their room and they read a lot and all this, that, and the other. Our children are the Indigo Children, and they're going to lead us to salvation, and they're going to lead us into our kingdoms in heaven. And I'm just like, I'm 5 and I'm sitting here doing a crossword puzzle. Do you mind?
Right?
You know? And it's just like, my mom had the entire our entire ward, which is like the church congregation. She had her entire ward convinced that I could read in several languages because I had a Gideon's Bible that had no, I'm not even kidding. I had a Gideon's Bible. Have you ever had a Gideon's Bible?
I've read them in hotel rooms, but
and it has the Lord's Prayer in like 20 languages. And you get them in like hotel rooms, hospitals.
It's like when my mom thought I could speak Spanish because I watched Dora the Explorer.
Yeah. Basically, some moms are really fucking stupid and they're really gullible. And the problem is they tend to fall for the thing what they start with is, Mom, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not the problem. Your child is the problem. And here's how we're going to fix the child. And too many people don't have that triggered mindset that's like, wait, my kid's not the problem. The problem is my child's brain function.
I mean, people that can't afford healthcare usually don't want to admit something's wrong because they know that their pockets are going to feel it.
Oh, yeah. But, like, the amount of parents that I've met since, like, the time that my 15-year-old was first diagnosed until now. So he was diagnosed at 3. And, yeah, for the past 12 years, I have met some really fucking unhinged parents. The amount of parents that will put their child through actual pain and suffering, quote unquote, just to see if it works for like any number of things is outrageous. These parents should not have custody of any child, let alone an autistic child. But women like her prey on them. She makes money on the misery of children.
Big bank.
And that's the biggest takeaway. It's not just the pseudoscience, which is like part of the bullshit. She makes money on the misery of children. And I think that should be shouted a little bit more, because that's the real takeaway here. And that's what should be, I don't want to call it celebrated. Like, it should be announced everywhere she goes. Somebody should be there with a fucking bullhorn. This woman makes money off the misery of children, as she walks into, like, Kroger. You know? Anyway.
Gonna get her into Kroger. I feel you. I mean, Rabbit, the initial FC experiments they were doing before was also separating children from their parents, because whoever the assholes were doing the Ouija board thing with the kids' hands were saying that the kids were being molested. So, damned if you do, damned if you don't. Oh, Rabbit showed up in the stream like right when we were looking at that part of it. So fucked.
See, and that's the thing. Like, there's so many communication devices out there that this is not even needed. Like, this sort of a technique isn't needed. There are person-led devices, because, you know, autistic people aren't just kids. There are person-led devices. They've got tablets that are specifically designed with AAC software, which is, I don't remember what it stands for right now because it's midnight. But they have these devices. It's like assisted something communication devices. And you can either use a tablet. They have books that are, for some people, find easier to navigate. There are software programs right now there is a streamer right now that is developing software to play video games with your brain. She streams, her name is Perry Carriel. She streams usually during the day. I think she's from the UK. I'm not 100% sure. She fucking plays video games with her brain.
Hydrogen atom play Doom now.
You can make a what?
You can make a hydrogen atom play Doom now.
I mean, we can do some pretty cool shit, right? This is not an advancement. This is definitely trying to take, like, the care of autistic children back to the Stone Ages. You know, when we stoned them to death.
Sure enough, feels
anyway,
like it. I'm shocked
on
that
we were saying, like, it is, yeah, the more we looked at it, it was like, it's almost abuse. Like, no, it's not almost abuse. It is abuse. The way they're treating these kids. Yeah.
And, like,
straight up abuse.
And then coming out, oh, my kid is saying this prophetic stuff. No, they're not. No, they're not.
No. Well,
stop
They
it.
Definitely are not.
Listen, I've got 3. I've got one kid that I am really happy when he doesn't say something that was written first by Dr. Seuss. Okay? Like, I am aware of what it's like to not hear your own child's words out of their mouth. I'm aware of how that feels, to know that I'm never going to hear my kid actually tell me something in a sentence that came from him. I know what that's like. I know how much that fucking sucks, and I know how much it hurts. This is not an answer. This is just horrifying.
And this is how people sneak into people's pockets.
Mm-hmm. So, but anyway, I'm gonna hop off because it is bedtime, and my children are like, oh, if you don't go to bed with us, we can't sleep. So,
well, thanks for coming through, Jane. Hope
right,
you've been
I'll be
enjoying the
back
stream so far.
I'll be back in chat.
For sure.
Bye.
Peace.
Bye.
All right. So back to Joe Rogan being a rube.
And I was like, okay, well, is it best to do it like in a lab situation that can be really stressful, that can be filled with a lot of skeptical people and throwing that energy at you? Or is it better just to go into your environment, take off the lab coat, learn to spell, go check this out?
And there it is. Because she knows that none of this can ever be demonstrated in a properly controlled setting, she outright tells the listener that we don't need to do that in the first place. Scientists are stupid, skeptical jerks, throwing skeptical energy all over the place. How can telepathic people do telepathy when people who don't believe it's real are watching them? We don't like lab coats. They're scary. Just stick to our shitty, unscientific demonstrations. This is the most mask-off moment of the podcast. She is explicitly offering a bullshit attempt at justifying why none of this can ever be verified empirically and discouraging the listener from thinking that it should be.
And you think of like really good scientists like Jane Goodall, who when she wanted to understand like a culture of, you know, how the chimps were working, she didn't bring them into her lab. She went and like lived in the jungle for months.
Yeah. Autistic children are not apes that live in the jungle. They're human beings who live in human society and who you are claiming to have supernatural abilities. If you can't demonstrate it in a controlled setting, it doesn't exist. You know it doesn't exist, so shirking this responsibility is an integral part of your grift. Pathetic.
And I've thought about like how skeptics can hold back that research in science and like how much time do you give to them versus like just move on without them. And I was thinking about in the term of like in the olden days, right? Like of a Voyager was going out to discover new worlds and people, you can't go find something, the Earth is flat and you're going to fall off of it, or out there is a blah, 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 blah.
Don't listen to scientists who know we're full of shit, you guys. They're just like flat earthers who told explorers that they were going to fall off the edge of the Earth, even though everybody educated knew the Earth was a sphere. And this is just a pathetic attempt to justify ignoring all the people who expose her grift.
Like in an ideal scenario, what would you like to happen?
Okay, I think there's three things, right? I think for one, like baseline, for people to presume competence in non-speaking individuals or someone who can't control their body. Don't think just because they can't speak doesn't mean they can't think.
That
You
they're
know?
not there.
Yeah, they're in
not
there.
Right.
Nobody said
she's
they can't
abusing
think. They're pretending they're
ableism.
telepathic and they're not.
And then I think the second one is certainly to try to get spelling validated in schools, right? Like it's almost like telepathy in a way, operated as a Trojan horse to get people to acknowledge and notice these incredible individuals and just take note and help them. So I think getting spelling validated and affirmed and make it accessible in schools.
A Trojan horse. Again, we get the quiet part out loud. The legitimate cause, communication access for nonverbal autistic children, is the vehicle she's using to smuggle in a paranormal belief system. This is the most damaging sentence in the entire episode because it completely reveals the structure of the grift. Attach an unfalsifiable pseudoscientific claim to a genuine humanitarian concern, so that anyone who challenges the pseudoscience appears to be attacking the humanitarian concern. That's precisely the trap that has made FC so difficult to dislodge for 30 fucking years.
And then I think the third thing is, I mean, truly a paradigm shift. I mean, I want people to know,
She
because
said
I've
it
come to
again.
what I feel like is believe this, right? That there is a non-physical world that's real. Our idea that consciousness is at the tippy top, that's the result of this physical world, I think is incorrect. I think consciousness is at the bottom of it and started everything. And with that in mind, consciousness, then there's so much more possible.
did a
We can
6-7.
control our body. We can communicate without our bodies. We can see into the future, maybe into the past. I mean, whatever it is.
Yeah, we get it. Endless spiritual territory for you to expand this grift across several more chapters. Right, Kai? Astral projection, time travel, talking to ghosts, paradigm shifting our balls off. All this and more next week on Season 6 of Kai Dickens Presents Bullshit for Money. And with that, we're about done here. The main takeaway is that the parents of severely autistic kids deserve all of our sympathy. Their challenge is enormous and their pain is real. They want so badly for this stuff to be true, but it isn't. And beyond false hopes, facilitated communication does actual real-world harm. By the same token, frauds like Kai, who exploit this grief for financial gain, deserve all of our contempt. Beyond manipulating these families, she also just contributes to overall science denial and distrust of the scientific community. It's just another iteration of the same old bullshit. Scientists are closed-minded jerkfaces who deny magic because it threatens their funding. It doesn't matter how transparently stupid it is. People fall for it, and public perception of the scientific community suffers, which rears its head in other ways that lead to human deaths. These are the people who will accept any baseless anecdote that supports the narrative they enjoy and reject any rigorous empirical science that proves them wrong. They've never seen any of these kids do any of these things, which is one of the reasons Telepathy Tapes is an audio-only podcast. I showed you the frontline clips, and actually seeing this stuff makes it very obvious what's really going on. Every time these techniques are rigorously tested in a controlled setting, they are shown to not work. Every time. That is what people should be using to generate their worldview, not stories that make them feel happy and special. As for Joe, he's got a gigantic platform. Why doesn't he arrange for some of these demonstrations to occur on his show? Maybe invite some skeptics, or better yet, some professional psychologists who have voiced their disdain for this pseudoscience to set it all up. Make sure rigid
last
controls
time
are
he
in
brought a
place, and then
skeptic
blow
on.
everyone's mind by demonstrating telepathy
He got
anyway.
pissed off
You could
at
really
him.
stick it to those stubby, closed-minded
Every
scientists,
single
Joe.
time he
It would
gets
be
like a
epic.
skeptic on, they'd completely blow the pseudoscientist out of the water.
And Joe don't like that because it's messing with his
Yeah.
pockets.
He's literally had, I think, skeptics on like maybe 3 times in like more than 1,700 episodes of his show, and all those 3 times, like they were completely BTFO'd. The pseudoscientist.
Makes
He'll
sense.
have scientists on, like he'll have like Neil deGrasse Tyson and all those people on, but never, like only very rarely, like have a debate or a challenge on his show.
I don't know. I think he got into it with somebody over like some apes or some cryptid species that he was going on about. And when the person was like, no, that's not a real thing, he flipped the fuck out.
That was on a phone call. It wasn't on a it wasn't like two guests that he invited to debate on his show.
Yeah, no, it was just a call.
Yeah.
But still, I discovered Wubby recently. He's on TV and you're on mobile. Wubby the magic card guy? I feel bad for that dude. We've seen the hero shows. We have to hide our powers. Yeah, exactly. Or else the government's going to round us all up. They're going to raid our institute and stop our money. Stop our progress.
But we both know that'll never happen. Not just because frauds like Kai would never agree to it. She flat out stated that nobody should have to comply with that expectation in the first place. But also because you aren't interested in facts, or reality, or truth. You're interested in whatever stories will keep those ears and eyeballs coming back for more. As long as that's the case, frauds will keep poisoning society through your platform. And you have to go to bed with that every day. So that's it for Kai Dickens and the telepathy tapes. I know a lot of people fell for this grift, which means there'll be a lot of angry people watching none of this video and yelling at me in the comments. Bless their little hearts, it doesn't change a thing. And whatever crap Kai puts out in the future, I'll be sure to demolish that too. Until next time.
All right. We got there. So I guess on that, we will call it a night unless there's something we need to watch real quick as a palate cleanser. What do you think? Nair being a terrorist. I'm here for it. I'm pretty sure Jim Bob's already in his comment section.
I feel like there was a skit that I sent. Was it on? Maybe it wasn't on React content.
I haven't checked the React content in a little bit. No, I don't see it there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
maybe I'm
watch
just
the Harry Potter thing.
I'll send it
What
telepathically.
up, Tara? We're gonna watch the Harry Potter thing. You still here, Maida? If Maida's not here, I'm not watching it.
I'll send you the link telepathically, so put that on
Nair
when
sent
you
me
get
the
it.
link right here.
Did I trouble you for a glass of warm milk? It helps put me to sleep.
You could trouble me for a warm glass of shut the hell up.
Oh,
Now
you
will
got
go
it
to
done?
sleep,
Or
I
is
will
that the
put
one
you
you're
to
gonna
sleep.
get?
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
Did I trouble you for a glass of warm milk? It helps put me to sleep.
Brutal. Thank you, Jenny. I checked the DMs. I can put it up on screen.
Black and yellow style, fuck you to the status. You laughed a lot before, but now you all afraid us. Thought you seized the means, Glocks up looking dangerous. Hard to take us down, haters ain't debaters. Scream about roads now, taxman got the papers. Banning gold or crypto, but laws cannot contain us. NAP my mind, Mises rocked by majors. Sliding up with grade 2, Agorist day traders. 3D printed, 1911. Defense distributed, I'm 357. Praxeology without exception. A priori, bitch, sit down and hear this lesson. Ain't got my grind, value on my mind. 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 Now we're back again, time for round 2. Gonna be explosive, full wreck pocket nukes. You cannot handle respect to private property. It's okay, you're a stop. Take this bullet for free. No liberty without reciprocity. If you dish, you must take. No hypocrisy. Self-ownership, consent.
So when'd you get it done?
philosophy, non-aggression measures. Now it's up with me. One generation, ending poverty. Peaceful parenting, non-violent kids, you see. Free markets or a gray. I'ma slide with my trade. Call
This
me
is
strong
crazy.
and they will pay when they starve and they don't save. Never kneel into the state. I dodge Bravo on the way. Fallacies I do slay. Not an argument, back away.
good work.
Ain't cap my grind, value on my mind. Ain't cap my grind, value on my mind. Ain't cap
That
my
looks
grind,
great.
value on my
Good
mind.
coloring. Do you have to get any more work done on it, or is it just as it is at that point? How many visits did it take? I mean, as long as it's I was gonna watch the Harry Potter trailer. And then I'll rate out afterwards. Which one is it?
They're all the same.
Are they all the same?
Are they roughly the same length?
7 hours. Ooh wee. What's the sister piece gonna be? I don't think they're all the same, but I'm wondering which trailer Maida was talking about. We got a 4K trailer. HBO Max Nordic. We got HBO Max UK now. Okay, here we go. The Nordic one. Pulling it up.
I told you.
Let's see what we're dealing with.
You are a normal boy. And you're going to start acting like one. You think you're something special? There is nothing special about you.
Oh, that is some garbage handwriting.
I've always wanted to know about my parents.
Once it's done, it's done. So you never have to worry
I
about
hate
that
is how
again until you remove
generic
it.
trailer music is.
Yeah.
They were funny and
Oh, I can only see
They
one
stood up for
Hagrid.
what
What
they
is
believed was
this?
right. The next time I see you, will be in Hogwarts.
Is he wearing cross colors?
They didn't even change the train. The train still says 5977, bro.
I mean, take whatever props.
Like
you can get.
aesthetically, it's exactly the same.
I think we can expect great things from you.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Let's see who you are.
Fucking Quidditch. I'm gonna skip the Quidditch episode. Just
No, you have to watch it.
Fuck Quidditch.
Are you really Harry Potter?
The fuck? Okay. So that's what we get, and that's our Christmas present. I hope you're happy with your Christmas present, Maida. Tells that for the train before 5972. Exactly. I mean, I saw Snape. It was, I assume it was the black dude that with the dreads. Like, it's just a thing they have to do. Take the palest person. In this case, they skip the redheads, which is what they usually replace with black people, and they just hit Snape with it.
Yeah, it's.
I was saying the same thing about the live action American Death Note. Like, they take Elle, who's like a pasty basement dweller, and they make it a black person. Like, none of this translates properly.
Yeah,
All right.
I mean, I don't mind Snape being black, but why Snape? That is an interesting question.
I mean, that's kind of what we're pondering on at this point, but I just assume it's like, where are we going to stick the representation? Well, who's the palest? Well, we have redheads and we have Snape. People don't like Snape. Let's run that.
I wonder if all the Death Eaters is gonna be black.
Why not? We can get it done.
Malfoy's gonna be black. It'll be the Slytherin house thing that.
All of House Slytherin is literally an HBCU.
This is not House Slytherin, Slytherin House.
Bruh, Maida, if If the Slytherin house has a step team, you know what this is.
Yeah, Matt, I was referring to that one. I'm not stealing your joke. I'm trying to give you credit. I said that it was on Discord first, but I forgot it was from you. So now I checked it. Yes, it is from Maida.
See the telepathy right there, working as
Exactly.
advertised. I need to get some of these cream cheese and chives wafers. What is this? Well, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and raid out for the night. I hope we all had a blast. I got a fair amount of laughs tonight. The snitching Quidditch is just a Slytherin house member who talked too much. All right, we raiding into the horseradish. I will catch you all next time, probably Friday, but we'll see what happens. Hitting the raid button. Y'all have a good night. Catch you Friday or possibly Saturday. Peace, y'all.